defender for me.
Yeah.
I just don't feel when you not when you take, I don't think Asava's good enough. I don't think Zerk Thatcher's good enough in the key position post for Port. He's their best defender, but is he good enough one-on-one?
Yeah. Oh, God, it'd be a tough matchup. You'd think, that is absolutely incredible work there by Jace Burgoyne.
He's an incredible player.
Imagine playing on a Lear one-on-one. We are the furthest things that you could find from athletes, but boy, oh boy, I don't know.
And Joe Richards has just won himself a free kick. I have no idea what that was for.
Some of the new boys,
yeah,
like Joe Berry popping up.
Well, that's a talking point for Port Adelaide for me. The fact that they've got a lot of new recruits into that. Like Joe Berry's going to bring heaps of energy into that small forward group. Not Ed Richards. What's his name?
Joe Richards.
Joe Richards.
Ed Kerno. Joe Richards. We know
Richards
football.
From the Dogs. Yeah, we do this. we can do this. So he's lining up for goal. He's put it through. But they've just got a lot more energy in front of the ball. And if they can bring the forward pressure, Willie Rioli just popped up on screen, who is a gun player when he's fit. Sam Powell-Pepper comes back.
Sam Powell-Pepper. Good to see him back.
Yeah. So that's going to be a lot more lively for them. What about someone we haven't talked about so far is Jack Lukosius. Do you think he brings anything?
Yeah. Jack Lukosius has got to be the most satisfying player to watch when he's in form. If he gets the ball 100%. Anywhere forward of the centre circle, he very rarely botches a kick. After so many years in the league, I actually still don't know where his best position is. And I think that's why he didn't really work out for Damien Hardwick. He's played in defence.
Him as a halfback.
Yeah. But is he sound enough defensively? He's probably not the best runner to play on the wing. Probably not tough enough to be on the inside. He's probably, for me, a hit up half forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got some nice size to him, but yeah, definitely the physicality's lacking. And I think in the modern game, that's almost you don't need all of the talent in the world to be a key position forward anymore.
Yeah.
You can have just physicality, get to a lot of contests, work really hard and make it work. And maybe that's the thing that Lukosius sort of doesn't bring.
Oh, he's Isaiah Wanganeen Miller.
Oh, talking about aesthetically pleasing players.
He's kicked it out on the full.
Yeah. He's given it to Joe Berry. That's Berry. No, it's not.
That's
it's
Will Farrell. Farrell.
They kick the ball a bit similar.
Is Farrell's first name Will? Is it Farrell?
No.
What is it?
Be. Is it?
Is it Will Farrell?
Hang on.
Am I making this up?
Where is he? I can't even find him on the
halfback.
That's their forward line. Kane.
Will
Farrell.
I'm calling him Will Farrell. We're rolling with it. Stay classy.
Zach Butter's out of this game. Oh, here's my boy, Garcia.
Hugo Garcia. You brought him up on my creator predictions video, and I was like, I've never heard of that man in my life, but it looks player.
He is someone taken really late in the draft, so I think he's kind of not on many people's radar.
Yeah.
In the 2023 draft, that is, not the most recent draft. So I don't think he even made Vic Metro.
Oh, Jason Horne-Francis just rose to the heavens.
Was that the Hornet?
Yeah, it was.
He's my tip for the Brownlow.
Yes.
Just quietly. Is that Georgiades?
My God, did you see how seamless he got up there?
The Hornet.
Look at this.
Oh, this guy's a freak. He actually wasn't close to taking that mark, but
that's exciting. In a preseason game, that's very audacious.
That's awesome. Got Burgoyne's on the ball here. Another very aesthetically pleasing player, the way he kicks the footy.
Yeah.
Every time I've said that, turn the ball over.
The commentator's cursed. There's Wanganeen Miller. He's good.
He's found someone. Higgins. So it looks inside. The Saints in this preseason have been moving the ball pretty seamlessly from halfback to the forward line. Not so much in this game.
Port Adelaide have just wanted to go through the middle of the ground all day so far.
Yep.
Rosie, there's the Hornet. You can't give him that much space. He's strolling into 50.
He's got this. No,
what decision does he make? He just pops it up.
That is well
done.
That's worked out, yeah.
Georgiades looking thick with 3 Cs.
How do you see his development? Because I sort of thought he was in a bit of purgatory there a couple of years back, but seems to have really got himself up to, you'd probably say he's one of the more promising young forwards in the comp.
Yeah. I think, what's this, his 4th year, I reckon, in the league?
Something like that, yeah.
So, first year, whatever, you come into the AFL as a key forward, that's always going to be tough. Then he does his ACL.
Yeah,
misses a
he did
year
too.
of footy. And
Yep.
then when he came back last year, he looked really good. He's won Mark of the Year already. Not that that's like, talks to your absolute ability to dominate as a key forward. He's shanked it. He's going to be a scrub.
Oh my God.
But no, I think his athleticism's off the charts.
Yeah.
WA boy, good raps on him. I think he'll be a player.
For sure. I think he's one of those ones too where like they come into the league and if they don't hit the ground running when they're that size, because he's not one of those like enormous key forwards like a Sam Darcy or something like that as far as height goes. So they've obviously got to kind of find other ways to compete, and he's starting to do that. Here's Wilson, who you mentioned. He's got so much talent.
I bumped into him in the airport on the way back from gather round. And Isaiah Wangadeen Miller has taken the kick in and now he's absolutely pumped it inside 50.
Don't really like that kick. Looking for Sharman.
Not the destination, but the skill on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just aesthetically, like we're saying. He looked like he has bulked up, that boy.
Yeah.
He's been eating his eggs.
I'm excited for him. He's just like, where do you sit on this idea of, like you don't really, the position that he plays, he's not really going to be in the line for like the Brownlows and stuff like that, playing off the half back. Do you think for him to be considered one of the best players in the comp, that has to change for him?
Yeah, I think so. But I don't know. He probably starts at half back, but just sort of roams wherever. Who's that hugging earlier?
That's Cooper
43,
Sharman. Yeah, Cooper Sharman. He had a pretty good season in 2024, the Sharmanator.
Yeah, Saints fans are pretty big on him.
They are.
By the way, if you want to get into the live chat, feel free. I've got it up here. So if there's any good comments that are relating to the game, any questions for Big Deal or myself, I've got the chat up on the right. So we've got 11 watching along in the stream right now. As we said, pretty preliminary episode, but yeah, feel free to join the conversation.
We'll get some bigger numbers as we go along.
Consistency's key, mate.
Footy in the flat.
Footy from the flat.
Footy what did I say?
Faithful Frio in the
footy
flat.
Stoppage inside at Port Adelaide's forward 50 here. So they've been moving the ball pretty nicely off half back, which probably that's an area of the game for them that they're probably going to have to look out for a bit this season. Like, who steps into the Houston role, do you feel, for Port?
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell, yeah. It actually is probably Will Ferrell. Or like, it could be though. It could be that it comes from a little bit more of a youthful situation, like a Burgoyne.
Yeah.
He has sort of roamed back there. And Logan Evans. Is it Logan Evans?
No, didn't he just go to Carlton?
Yeah, he did. I'm getting that.
Mate, that was Francis Evans.
Yes, Logan Evans is the one I'm talking about.
Right.
So yeah, Logan Evans, another young player.
Darcy Burn-Jones can do that. He was an All-Australian in that role.
But he's playing forward.
Yeah, that's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, how do you be All-Australian as a running half back and then just like lose that ability?
Do you think the position's changed a little bit? Like
Maybe.
it's become more important. So players, like previously you saw All-Australians like Jake Lloyd, Rory Laird, Darcy Burn-Jones type players. And it's become, I don't know, like a lot of teams, their best, player in their top 3-4 players at the club is playing that role now. Like since maybe Dacos, Sheasel.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Did you just see who kicked that? Sorry to cut you off there.
I didn't. No,
that was Jack Lukosius's first touch, and he has placed it in the breadbasket of Mitch Georgiades in like a 60-metre kick. That's going to get Port fans excited.
Can we have a conversation, given that in this game...
It's Will Taylor. Will Taylor and Trey.
Yeah. We've just spotted someone we've just spotted Will Taylor.
Panwright.
It's Marmalade there too.
The boys.
On the fence. This is at RSCA, isn't it?
Yeah. Down
in Moorabbin. Yeah, just on that previous, when you said Lukosius, how he kicked the footy, what would be your top sort of few players for kicking the ball? And you can bring aesthetics into it. You can kind of have whatever parameters you want around this. But who kicks the footy the best in the AFL?
Hayden Young, no bias.
Hayden, that's a good shout.
Yeah, no, he's got an absolute weapon for a left foot. There was a goal that he kicked against Richmond last year. Don't know if you remember it, because not many people do memorise goals scored in the Richmond and Freo games.
I was going to say, it wouldn't have been a game that I was like jumping through hoops to get to.
But like, there was a stoppage sort of half forward. He like gathers the ball, don't argue someone, spins out of the contest, kicks it on 50 on his right foot. It's like, that's his opposite foot. He had so much to do. It's just an absolute jet.
You talk about players that have probably, evolved that half-back position. Like he's one there. I know he's gone into the midfield now because he's become so important, but just the like extra athleticism, physicality, and just the importance of Hayden Young.
For sure. Another player, I mean, Nick Dacos, like watching him just do anything.
He probably doesn't have like the penetration on his kick of like a Hayden Young or like a Jack Lukosius even, but just the control that he seems to have.
Yeah.
Hit up those short kicks and long kicks so well. Ed Richards, I really like.
Okay.
Maybe that's more of a player that's sort of coming through the ranks. Horn Francis is a good kick, actually. Wouldn't put him in that top bracket.
Do you reckon I can just like play this out loud, see how we're sounding? How it's rocking?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
Just a little audio check there from us. The stream's obviously a little bit delayed, so if you are watching along with the KO, you could probably put it back like 10 or 15 seconds.
Yeah, we're on 11:06, 11:05, 11:04. Sync yourself up.
Sync yourself up if you want to. Port Adelaide leading 2 goals, 1-13-0 at the moment. So St Kilda struggling a little bit to get a foothold in the game. No Rowan Marshall, no Dougal Howard, no Jack Sinclair.
Yep, no Liam Henry.
No Liam Henry. He goes Bergman inside 50 to a contest. Up goes Georgiades. Pal Pepper.
No, had too much to do there. That's selfish. Selfish footy from you, pal.
We'll give him a mulligan just for coming back to footy. Big injury.
Yeah.
What do you think of Pal Pepper and his sort of entire career, what he's put together?
I think he's one of the most dangerous forwards in the comp on his day.
Really?
Yeah, like there's been... Hasn't he had games where he's kicked like 5 or 6 goals? Like just absolutely turned it on.
He probably has.
I don't know. You want players like that in your team that bring that aggression.
That enforcer.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if you're coming up against a forward line of him, Willie Rioli, Young Berry, mix in Georgiades, Todd Marshall when he's fit. Like that's a great forward line. I probably haven't seen enough of him recently to really know, because he was out all of last year, and the year before that I was living in England, living La Vida Loca. So I haven't seen him play consistent footy for a while, but like I'm a Pal Pepper fan for sure.
I like just that forward. You just went through the Port Adelaide forward line there, and speaking about someone like a Todd Marshall, to me is probably a player. Like I know he hits up and he's a type of forward, but I don't know if I really rate what he does. Again, like he's not a particularly physical guy.
Yeah.
Can get beaten in the one-on-one. Pretty good at like hitting up for a lead. Sort of a little bit similar to what I would say about a Nick Larkey, who I'm a North supporter. So I just find he frustrates me at times with that a little bit too. Like he can't really wrestle with someone.
Yeah. The Matt Taberner mold, if you will.
Yes. And they're better players, like obviously. Like particularly Larkey.
Yeah.
Of that type of forward, what he does, he's obviously the best at it. But
do you think that's a dying breed?
I think it is. I suppose that's where I'm going with the overall chat. Like I'm just not sure you can really survive. Like whenever North Melbourne need an outlet kick, they don't really have it in Larkey, and we don't have it many. You know, we brought in Jack Darling to kind of try to do that, just to bring some grunt.
Jack Darling is the king of the dying forward breed that we're discussing.
Yeah, that's why North Melbourne drafted. I recruited him. Of course, we love that. We love recruiting. I love recruiting someone that's, hasn't got much of a career left at another club, but that's for a different conversation.
Well, you talk about like the comparisons between Brisbane and North Melbourne, like in terms of the rebuild type thing, and they took like Grant Birchall, Luke Hodge, in the tail end of their career, like players that had vital experience in good sides. So before you know it, you'll have Charlie Cameron and Lockie Neal joining your club, and you'll be winning flags. So.
I hope so. I do wish we had a little bit more quality.
Nice. Jordan Sweet.
That's a nice goal.
Some would say it's a sweet goal.
Do you play AFL fantasy at all?
I don't. No.
You don't? Okay.
Nah. I don't even do footy tipping because I just want to watch the game and not have any investment in anything that's going on at all, if you're catching the drift.
That's fair. I feel like sometimes like fantasy, one positive of it sort of brings you into those like a bit more obscure players.
Yeah,
you watch them a little bit more closely because they can like do something for you in the game. But yeah, you do sometimes get a little bit consumed by that when you're watching it. Jordan Sweet though, for anyone out there, is potentially if he goes solo ruck this year for Port Adelaide, could be an option.
Yes. No, the Marmalade boys are big on Jordan Sweet.
As a player?
Yeah, they sort of know him somehow as well. I don't know. They sort of know everyone, but
Yep.
nah, they're big on Sweetie.
Oh, sweetie.
Josh Sin? Is it Josh Sin?
Josh Sin, high draft pick from a few years ago.
Yes, hasn't come on yet.
Yes.
But
look at the Hornet.
Oh, try catch him. Try catch him.
You can't.
You can't. And if
and
you
then
do,
the
you'll
kick,
get stung.
that is a good kick. It didn't come off.
Brad Hill is the worst contested mark in the AFL. Pass it on. Oh, that's a high tackle, Bradley. You can't be doing that. Yeah, when he played for Freo, anytime the ball got kicked over his head, I was just like, oh no. Great runner, great ball
I was going to
user.
say that's the package of Brad Hill, isn't it? It's the running, the ball use. He's like I think at ground level he's a pretty tough player.
Yeah. Sky level, no good.
Nah. The thing is with the Saints though, they do have on the other wing usually running a Darcy Wilson or a Mason Wood, both really strong aerial players. So I think it probably yin and yang's a bit there for them.
Yeah. Darcy Byrne-Jones, is he a forward? Is he a running half back?
Darcy
I'll tell you one thing, he's an All-Australian. How does he kick it?
I'm not a massive fan.
Yeah, I know. That is a behind. What are we saying in the chat? We got Gritio.
I've got a few there.
We got Duck Pastable. What a name.
What are they saying?
Dawson's kick is aesthetically pleasing.
Yes.
And
love Jordan Dawson's kicking skills. Big body midfielder.
See that goal that he kicked against Brisbane the other night?
Gee, that's got some penetration on it, doesn't it?
We love some penetration. Here's
Sharman. Can they just hit the scoreboard at least? Like,
this is just classic Ross Lyon, to be honest. Like, let's stop kidding ourselves here.
Oh, this is Boxall. Hugh Boxall, WA boy.
Where was he drafted from? Now I'm testing you.
I think Claremont.
Yeah.
I think.
Checks out.
Again, good big-bodied midfielder, so fits the Ross Lyon mould. That kick wasn't his best effort. And that is a Jeremy Finlayson there playing behind the ball. Thoughts on that move?
Did that ever happen at GWS? Was he ever a defender? Here's Farrell.
You've tested me.
True. Oh.
Will.
Will to Willem. Oh, go Lukosius. I didn't know you had that.
Cordy was on the treadmill.
He's done well.
Then.
Every criticism I had of him, he's just shown me up on his strength, his pace.
It is pre-season.
His ability to keep his feet and win the ball.
Day BJ.
That is massive from Lukosius.
Oh my God.
That was incredible. The hustle from Lukosius, I've never seen that.
That's what he can bring. He's got the aerial game and at his best, he can bring that ground level game. Like he's that perfect hybrid.
Yeah. That was unreal. That was effort of the preseason so far.
I want to just see that again.
Because he chased the ball down to make a contest in the first place, got bumped out of it, come back in, ground ball, handball forward. And is that Joe Richards again?
I thought it was Byrne-Jones who got the goal.
Oh, it was Byrne-Jones. Never mind.
All Australian.
Do you know why, whilst we're doing the teething episode, your screen has like that? See those lines?
Oh, it does too. We can fix that. I might actually get
Producer Vic.
Producer Vic. You've just got to go over to the camera. I'll direct you through this as the footy continues. Rosie, a nice little boot in there. Just a little...
Are you running with ultra low latency or just low?
Normal.
I don't think there's really a difference. I reckon you want to go ultra low though. If it doesn't affect the stream in any way, you might as well just get it as up to date as you can.
That keeps the comments coming through, does it?
Well, it makes the live stream closer to
the game. Yeah, okay. The ultra low, okay.
So like ultra lows, I think it's only a couple of seconds.
Gotcha. Gee, Port Adelaide are just peppering them at the moment. So you got to come over to the camera, my camera, and you've got to just click on the settings thing to open. There'll be like 3 bars, and then go monitor.
Some hardware, TV.
Just a little bit of behind the scenes stuff going on at the moment. Throw in Port Adelaide's forward half. Was that Soldo? So they're actually playing the double ruck combo at the moment. Wines, nice ground ball. Willie Rioli, shocking kick. And this is O'Connell. Oh, it's coming back. I was just about to mention O'Connell, Irish guy playing for St Kilda. So on the camera there, Vika, monitor, and then put on clean feed, clean out or something. It says. Yeah, that should have. Well, it should be on
ground level.
Yeah, we want the clean feed.
Love a clean feed. Might get Zambreros after this. Now you've said that.
Is that a Zambrero?
Just a clean feed, bruv.
Oh, 4.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. 10 inside 56. So absolutely, this game is being controlled by Port Adelaide.
Don't tell me there's an injury in here somewhere. Oh, I thought they were slowing it down for an injury.
What's your take on so many preseason injuries to star players as well? Do you have a theory on this?
I don't know if they're just they're still doing really high training loads during these weeks in the lead up to the season. So they might do extra running or whatever, which leads to Hayden Young, who's just done a hamstring or whatever. But yeah, I mean, Gordon's one you can't
what
do
did
anything
Gordon do?
about ankle. He got tackled bad. Oh my God. Nazai Wanganeen-Miller just threw someone like he was a 4-year-old child. The strength of him.
With the knee injury, like Jagger Smith's injury, for example, do you think that can come from an overload of training and then the knee becomes more susceptible to doing an ACL? Or is that looking too...
Depends on what they do in the days lead up to it. If they have heavy leg sessions in the days before, maybe. But I don't expect they would have. I think that's, again, just a freak accident.
It's a freak accident, yeah.
Nazai Wanganeen-Miller just threw someone off of him I've never seen before. Genuine Dusty-esque,
really?
Don't argue.
It's not really something you associate with a
No.
Messiah, but he's definitely not scared of contact.
As a member of this Footy from the Flat show, I do like to bring some couch anecdotes. I was at a nightclub one night, last day of the season last year. Watched Freo lose to Port Adelaide, and then we're right, that's the end of the season. So
that made you miss the finals.
Yeah,
too, right. There was actually jeopardy in that game.
Yeah. So I was I just want to go out, whatever. Yeah, don't argue, bro.
That don't argue. That is incredible.
Have you ever seen anything like it?
So back to your story. Nightclub.
Yeah. So we're right, me, Caden, Checkers, we're let's go out, hit the town. So we went to Electric, and everywhere you looked was a football player. All the St Kilda players were there. All the Hawthorn team was there.
Really?
All the Ds were there.
So pretty much every team that wasn't playing off in the finals.
Well, Hawthorn were there. But obviously they had there's a 2-week gap between games or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Who else was there?
I didn't think players would be going out though.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. Carlton players were there as well. So I was chilling with
wow.
Jesse Motlop and Ashton Moyer and stuff. A couple of the Essendon lads were there. But they had just played. Carlton and St Kilda had just played that night.
Yeah.
And they all strolled in. I was having a chat with Jack Steele for a little bit. But anyway, Nazai Wanganeen-Miller comes in, and this is later on in the night. I've had a couple of Slurpees. And can they score? Mason Wood. Oh, he's hit the post. And I just saw Nazai Wanganeen-Miller come in after playing one of the best games I've ever seen. And I just couldn't say anything to him except for oh my God, you're such a gun.
So you're actually a little bit starstruck.
Not starstruck. I was I was just watching him a few hours before and just being just jaw dropped.
He's just a sure thing to be a superstar.
Yeah.
You can't be that good at football and not be a superstar. I hear it.
As he absolutely
time,
misses a mark.
Every time. And here's a big transition goal. That was from a kick-in, wasn't it?
Yeah, that
wasn't even a turnover.
Not a good sight for St Kilda fans.
Nah.
But yeah, I can't really actually remember what I was saying to Nazai Wanganeen-Miller because it was a big night, but I was just mate, you're a gun.
Was it
you're a gun? Not really. I think it was just so out of it. Not out of it, but just had no shame at that point. I was just bro, you're so good at footy, eh? Yeah. Who I did have a good chat with that night was Lloyd Meek. There was a bunch of North boys were there as well. Speaking of Griffin Logue, I pretty much went up to every Freo player, ex-Freo player, and was why aren't you at Freo?
Does that hurt a little bit, the Meek one particularly?
Yeah, it does now. Yeah. We could use him now big time. Well, yeah, I don't know. Sean Darcy played his best footy when Lloyd Meek was still evolving, and now that he's had enough exposure to the AFL level and you can see his strength, it's man, he's such a good mover. which you can't really say about
I
Sean
think there were
Darcy.
signs though that Meek was doing that at Freo. Like when he did come in, like obviously he wasn't having full performances over the 4 quarters of the game, but like there were signs.
But then you bring in Luke Jackson and it's like,
What
who
do
are you
you
going to play?
Yeah, exactly. What do you think of Luke Jackson's, what he is as a footballer, like what he can be to Freo, and then kind of talk about the Sean Darcy situation?
Luke Jackson, he just needs a bit more endurance in the ruck, and then he could easily take that role like full time.
Do you think he could be like a Tom de Koning?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's like your modern day ruckman, like that athletic guy that can go forward and score goals, because he is a very handy forward as well. Like people are still talking about him.
I agree, and I think the thing is when he plays as a forward a lot of the work that he does is actually at ground level.
Yeah.
Which is underrated. So he gets a lot of score assists,
yeah,
but he doesn't kick goals. And then that obviously when you're playing as a key forward, goals are kind of the thing that everyone's looking for. But he's a very impactful player per possession.
I don't think there's a player in the AFL that would mark the ball at a higher point. I would be surprised if like he wasn't in the top 3.
Good conversation. Not something I could just
tangibly measure.
Yeah, or like just even throw any names at you right now for that. But that's a good watch.
Like his vertical leap for his size is just like ridiculous. When you got someone like Sean Darcy that's just like really big, strong, hard to move, he just sort of protects a drop zone, but Jackson marks it at the highest point.
Do you think there's any chance that Darcy becomes extinct in the setup because of Jackson?
Yeah, I actually do.
Would you prefer that?
No, because I like Darcy. Like,
you like him as a guy though?
When he's on, he's like one of the better tap ruckmen in the comp.
He is he's an extremely physical player as well. It's not as if he's just one of those big ruckmen. 50-meter penalty here against Lukosius to Butler. Butler's an unusual player, isn't he?
Yeah, you know what Dan Butler is. You know he's shown what he is. Cousins of a friend of the show, Bailey McCabe.
Oh, that is just an atrocious pass. Like that was never coming off. Finlayson intercepting there. 32 seconds to go. Port 39, 6 goals, 339 to 1 point to the Saints. I've just brought up the fantasy scores and the stats. Like it's a shit show for Port Adelaide. Like they've got the top. I reckon more than half of their team is leading the fantasy scores.
Yeah, not looking good for Saint Kilda. You never know in pre-season, but like just looking at this team, I'm like, who is this guy? Who have we got on the ball right now?
This is Stocker.
Oh yeah,
from Carlton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Like I think Stocker's a decent medium defender / kind of tagging midfielder. So that is the first quarter done and dusted. 39 to 1, like I said. Saints have got a little bit of soul searching to do here, Drewzy.
Yes. That quarter did not fill me with hope for the season to come for St Kilda.
I always think with these preseason games, it's not like the result doesn't matter at all, but you need to be able to just see some positive signs, right?
100%.
Whether that's like player performances, like somebody's getting a little bit better, the way that you're moving the ball. Do you think the Saints, when Jack Sinclair's back in the team though, like the ball movement just sort of fixes?
Yeah, you'd hope so. But like I don't know, what we've seen so far is that maybe this is just a preseason game, so it doesn't matter, but like they're easy to move the ball against.
Yes.
And to end. Like there's just been no resistance to that.
One thing I wanted to have a conversation with you about is like Ross Lyon. We talked about Ken Hinkley and like the situation there. When do you think Ross Lyon, what would have to happen for him to become under pressure?
I don't know, because I don't think Ross Lyon's going to be the man to take him to a premiership.
Really?
So, yeah, nah.
Why is that?
Well, their list just isn't good enough to get there for another. I reckon the Saints aren't contending until at least 2028 at the earliest, I reckon.
Really?
Yeah. Would you, like, they're not going to contend this year, I don't reckon. There's so many names on that list that I don't think will be there if they do make a grand final by 2030.
Give me some.
All right, let's have a look at their team.
Bring this up. That's the today team.
O'Connell, who are you? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just genuinely, who is O'Connell? Never heard of him. Burns, halfback.
Yeah, fair. I'll give you that one. I think he's a half forward too, like more of a mid.
See, if you're a half forward, half mid, half back, like you're probably just.
I'll give you
a
that
bit
one.
lost.
I'll give you that one. Like
Well, and maybe I just don't know football much. Hasty.
Angus Hasty.
Are these going to be 200 game players?
Well, he's young. He's younger.
We'll allow Hasty.
Yeah.
Mason Wood, serviceable, but like probably if you're going to win a flag, he's going to be your 24th, 25th best player.
See, I actually rate Mason Wood.
He's all right.
Let him go.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so he's probably one you could argue, though, he's not in the next flag because of his age.
Yeah.
He's like 30 plus, but yeah.
Jack Seal's good, great. Brad Hill, bit old, but still good.
Yep.
Mitch Owen's good.
Mitch Owens, okay, let's come back. Good or great?
Yeah, I haven't really seen too much of Mitch Owens.
He's good. I think.
Yeah, he seems to be one of their better young players. Big body, like forward mid
Big
type.
body, yeah. Like third tall, can run through the midfield a little bit.
Yeah,
Hasn't
that's
probably
exciting.
shown himself to be like a top end in the midfield. Like I say, a Philippou, who they've got there, but
like burst onto the scene and then like a bit
exciting.
But like didn't have a massive year last year, did he?
No, he did stagnate. I'd say stagnated a little bit last year, but I mean, people blame, and this is what probably the conversation I'm having, because people blamed that stagnation a little bit on Ross Lyon's attacking flair that he has in the game. Like obviously very known as a defensive coach. He was at Fremantle, so you'd know him pretty well. Like,
Yeah.
do you see that in his football?
What's that?
The defense, like being too defensive.
Yeah, definitely. Like you've never looked at a Ross Lyon side and been like, that attack has the ability to beat all the team's defenses in the comp. Like, if it is to come to grand final day, you've never been like, God, Ross Lyon's attack's coming for us.
Yeah, okay. Do you think that's about how he builds the attack or how he coaches the team to move the ball?
You're probably I'm being asked questions out of my depth here. I just don't have I just don't have faith in him to take this team to a premiership.
Fair.
Like maybe if he has a better list, maybe, but even then, like, yeah, I don't know.
I sort of think that the list, like I reckon there are question marks. I think there's a myth a little bit around the way that they actually do attack, because I actually think they move the ball from like D50 to forward 50 quite well. I think the area definitely, and this is where they're different to a lot of teams, like all of their good players, their high-end talented players aren't in the midfield. So teams can like really get a hold of them in that midfield group. So like if they don't fix that like fairly soon, I think it's just going to fall apart a little bit for them. And then like if he just keeps missing the finals, I don't know. I mean, the AFL is a bit of an unusual sport because you kind of can just keep missing the finals and still keep your job as a coach.
Yeah.
Like it's not exactly like the cutthroat.
Which we like. We like that about footy.
Yeah, not the cutthroat ecosystem of the US or the UK or something. But yeah, I don't know. I think McRae, Steele, and at the moment Hugo Garcia, my boy, who I rate Hugo Garcia, but like you probably need a bit more quality in the midfield.
100%. And that's why they're trying to throw the book at
yes,
Finn Callahan and
LDU.
Yeah, surely they had a tilt at Dan Houston. Like, I know he's not necessarily an inside mid, but
that's the funny thing, because like I tend to find like clubs, like being a North Melbourne fan, like St Kilda are a little bit in the same boat as North Melbourne, like both small membership base, Victorian clubs, and like North did the same thing, like 5 to 10 years ago, just went for everyone. Andrew Gaff, Josh Kelly, Dustin Martin, just insane money, insane contracts, because they just want to lure that big fish to sort of, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough spot to be in, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's all right now that you've got guys like Wardlaw and Sheasley out of the draft, because they are going to be
well, if you
fish.
draft them, like I guess there's more chance that they're just going to stay because they're there. But I still think teams like the Saints, like North, they really have to look at players that are like Jason Horne-Francis being probably the casing point there. Like they've got to want to stay, because there'll be offers. If they're any good, there'll be offers from other teams.
There's a universe out there where Jason Horne-Francis and Harley Reid are running around the same midfield.
Oh, that would be
at Arden Street. Yeah,
that's hard to take, really. So
there's also a universe where we didn't trade Trent Crode for Luke Hodge and Sam Mitchell. But we got Luke McFarlane, so who's the real winner?
Oh, God.
I wonder how Finlayson will go as a key defender this year.
I haven't got huge hopes. I keep mixing Berry and Farrell up. Here's Berry. About to get the ball here. Is he? Yes. Berry.
Bury it. No way.
Nah. It's actually out on the floor.
That got me excited. Grittio M said the North Nuffy Dylan coming in to bat for Mason Wood there when we were talking about the quality of St Kilda's team.
Yeah. No, he's a good player, Mason Wood. Like if he had been like, we just couldn't get him. Well, we couldn't. What's the word for it? Like harness his development. He was just getting injured all the time. We couldn't look after him. I don't know.
Yeah, you couldn't get the best out of him type thing.
Yeah. He just seemed to be like perennially injured for us. And then he went to St Kilda and he was like fairly fine for. And close. I think he's close to All Australian. I don't think he ever actually made All Australian. But yeah, good winger, good runner, good overhead, kind of all the attributes. The second quarter's kicked off here. Soldo in the ruck, up against, I want to say, is that Burns? The backup Saints ruckman? Oh, Boyd, not Burns.
See, when you're questioning like who this player is, they're not ready for a flag, bro. You watched Collingwood and you're like, that is a stacked list. Like I know
that will be Rohan Marshall though.
Yeah.
In the A team, but yeah, fair point.
Collingwood looked good the other night. I know they were only playing against Richmond, but like talent aplenty.
Yeah, like they were moving the ball so well. I mean, that again, that is. I think the fact that they were so lethal in front of goal, like their efficiency was so good, was probably Richmond's lack of pressure in the forward 50. But the way that they moved the ball from back half to front, like Josh Dacos and Houston look scary.
And that bloke Nick seems to be all right as well.
See, this is Mead on the ball now.
Yeah.
Like probably like good little player, but not sure he's
winning. He's handy.
Do you?
I don't mind little Mead.
Got a little bit of pace, but he's a little.
Yeah, I get what you mean. He's one of those that won't. Yeah, well, let's not write off these players. I've come in taking heads today.
He's not going to make it at the AFL. He can't make it.
He's already on a list.
Caminiti.
I've liked how Port have moved the ball.
Yes. Which is surprising for me because I thought Houston was kind of the trigger puller, particularly from the back half.
Like you said, like players like Lockie Jones are going to need to step up. I like Farrell in that position to bring the ball out. Like he's got a bit of pace, lethal left foot. So
they're definitely. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they move. Like kind of what their setup is this year. Like in past seasons, they've been a heavy forward half team. Like even Dan Houston doesn't get, like in a lot of games, doesn't get enormous numbers because they just don't have that sort of, they're like a much more direct team. It's built around like repeat stoppages, get the ball inside forward 50 and trap it there because they're going to, if they get more stoppages in the forward 50, players like Horn Francis, Butters, Rosie are going to beat you. Here's Pepper.
Does you make the team play? Oh. I mean, you've left the best player in the competition 10 metres out from goal by himself.
What happened there?
Ross Lyon football. No.
Are you? So you're an anti-Lioner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been through that, bro.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like you've got past relationship trauma. That's me and Ross Lyon.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Do you want to talk about it?
No, I don't. Nah, not ready. No. I don't know. It was just always identityless football after 24. Oh my, that is the worst set shot I've ever seen.
Did I say he was one of the better kicks in the comp?
And I just said he's the best player in the comp.
He is that though.
That was crazy. He must have closed his eyes. He must have just gone, it's pre-season.
He's just like, who cares?
I've always wanted to try to take a set shot with my eyes closed.
Here's O'Connell, the guy that you just smashed before.
Yeah, great.
The Irishman. I reckon he's looked good.
Has he?
Yeah, I mean, I take your point though that he's not propelling Saints to a flag. Here's McRae.
Talk about people that are propelling the Saints to a flag. Who's that? Hugo Garcia? Inside 50? Sharman.
Shah. Wilson. Wilson's been quiet.
He has. On the team sheet, he's listed at half forward. I want that man on the ball 24/7 if I'm the Saints.
Yeah, I agree. I reckon if the Saints hadn't have gone after like a McRae, I think they could have had a developmental year where they went Garcia, Matthias Philippou, apart from the injury, obviously, and Wilson, just put him in the midfield.
Yeah.
Just who cares if you get beat?
Is Seb Ross still on the list?
No, he got delisted at the end of last year. So
Unlucky.
They lost Crouch. And when I say lost,
he's no longer at the club.
He's no longer at the club, yeah.
His services are no longer required.
Yeah. Zach Jones is still there.
That's nuts.
That's nuts, isn't it? Like, I don't know, like because they went through that stage too, where like they missed out on a lot of those big fish. We talked about it with like North before, and they'd get the next guy they could, like Hanbury. He came from Sydney.
Yeah.
Jones came from Sydney. Like Steele came from GWS, right?
Yep.
Here's your boy Finlayson. He looks, like I don't know. He doesn't look right back there, does he?
If he's going to be a key defender on a Josh Tracy or a Charlie Kerno, he's going to be in for a long year. All right, here we go. Jack Lukosius, half forward. Just a little stab kick. That's just made that look easy.
Yeah. That's not a good
Jace
kick.
Burgoyne, put your head over it, brother.
He's
done well. See, Pal Pepper just goes.
Yeah. Good tackle by Rosie on Wilkie. See, Cam Wilkie's a great player.
Yeah, he sure is. Big raps on him. I've never seen him dominate a game from defence. Now, this is what we're talking about, Ross Lyon football. They have almost half the disposals of Port Adelaide. But yeah, like you said, maybe it is just like contest, or centre clearance insufficiency, which is why they always struggle to score high. But having said that, Freo's midfield had Fife, Lockie Neal, David Mundy.
I mean, one thing you can say for sure, like Freo teams, like Ross Lyon loves big-bodied midfields. Like I feel like he's trying to do the same at St Kilda with the tools that he has. Like he wants to get Philippou in there, who's like 190.
Yeah.
Like Mundy, Fife, and Barlow.
Yeah.
All over 190. Who was the other one you mentioned then?
Lockie Neal. Well, he wasn't really...
Neal. He was later though, wasn't he?
Yeah, Ryan Crowley was probably a more permanent...
Yes, another big body.
Yeah.
Like 188 or something, like height. And definitely a physical tagging type player. He always loves having a tagger in there, like he's used Windhager. And then likes to have those classier players sort of around that, not necessarily in there. Here's Ollie Wines. Thoughts on Ollie Wines as a Brownlow medalist? You comfortable with that?
I'm not uncomfortable with it. I think you don't win a Brownlow by fluking it. What I don't like is the narrative Bont should have won a Brownlow. It's like if he should have won a Brownlow, he would have won a Brownlow, you know? Like,
yeah, that's fair.
I don't want to take away from anyone's, that's a massive achievement.
Oh, for sure. For sure. The fact that you're even, I mean, if you want to go even further, the fact that they're playing AFL footies and playing 150, 200 games is massive.
But it's like if Ollie Wines was playing for a Richmond or an Essendon or any big Vic club and won a Brownlow, it wouldn't be disputed. But
you reckon?
Yeah.
You reckon that's a Vic bias thing?
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah, interesting.
Like, we always write off Port Adelaide as well. Like, they've played how many prelims in the last 10 years?
Well, even off the top in this episode, I was talking about the fact that they finished second last year.
Yeah.
Second, can you believe that?
Yeah. And, everyone's just saying, they'll drop off.
Yeah.
Including me.
Yeah. So you're even buying into it.
Yeah, I've lived here for a year and I'm already bringing the Vic bias.
Yeah.
Lockie Jones has looked strong. I hope he can stay fit this year.
George
Yardy's
big contest with Wilkie and O'Connell, Drewzy's boy.
Speaking to that night at the nightclub, Checkers was speaking to someone and I was like, who's this? How do you know him? He's like, this is Cal Wilkie. I was like, it's nice to meet you. He just looks very normal.
He does. Yeah, he looks like he could be an accountant. Yep.
Or a bodyguard.
Dave from The Office, kind of. Here's Pal Pepper. Flicks a couple of handballs. Willie Rioli on the ball. Richards. I don't know who that is. Burton.
Sin. That is.
Oh, it's Sin. Yeah, it's Sin.
Oh, that's a sin. They've turned the ball over to Nazai Wanganeen Miller.
Worst player.
St Kilda have not kicked a goal in this game of football.
There's your aerial presence from Brad Hill again on Boke.
Oh, footy's back.
Footy's back. I know. I know this is kind of just a trial episode. It's a preseason game, but it feels like it's here.
We're back.
We're back, baby.
We'll have to figure out a game to do next weekend.
For sure. What do you think?
I'd love to do the Friday night game. That's going to be 50. They're going to be given the cheapest goal ever here. The Friday night game is Sydney and Hawthorn.
Yeah, I'll just bring this up. The fixtures. Hang on. That's pre-season. Yeah, so we've got Thursday, Geelong, and Friday would be great.
Just depends on my slave job that I have to do.
Working schedule for sure.
Do you have a job?
Me?
Yeah.
No, just doing
Living the
this kind of
dream.
stuff at the moment. Yeah.
Let's
so
go.
live streaming, making videos. I did recently finish studying.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been my main focus.
Looking for work or just pursuing the dream?
Just seeing what's going on, pursuing the dream.
Hell yeah.
Seeing what comes up. Yeah.
Did you save a lot of money living abroad?
Not as much as you would like to ever, but
Yeah.
you kind of just do what you're doing, but yeah, kind of.
Fair play.
Who's that?
Alir, that is a stinky decision.
Yeah, it's just sort of unnecessary.
Speaking of meeting players in obscure places, I bumped into Alir when I was living in Manchester.
That's random. What, was he on holiday or?
Yeah, he was.
Wow.
Yeah, just walking down the street. I'm like, you're Alir. Like, he wouldn't have got recognised by anyone else. But
No, that's
yeah.
the one thing with footballers, right? They can go to Europe and the US and nobody cares.
Incognito.
Yeah.
Or you can just go play for Gold Coast.
Yeah, just go to Brisbane or Sydney. Sweet on McRae. Lee Montagne's talking. Did we end up putting some volume on the...
We did not.
We didn't. That was my job.
That's all
And
right.
I didn't do
Where's
it.
the telly remote?
I'll just grab it. Hang on. Ugh. Sneak out of here. Is that my boy Mead?
Looks like it. Power Pepper 1v1 on the wing. He just ran over the boundary line. I think that was O'Connell, your man.
I thought he was your man.
You're the one that said he's going to win the Brownlow. though.
Here we go.
Wanganeen
How's that? We might get people just to let me know if that's like coming through too much.
I reckon that'll be fine.
It does
But
just add
let us
some
know.
atmos. There's Mitch Owens. I didn't actually complete that handball.
You just got to have someone on Jason Horn-Francis at all times. Boke. Well played.
Oh, yeah, Lukosius lining up for a goal. I just want to go back. You know when Aaliyah did that late sort of put the player down 50-metre penalty?
Yeah.
I do think from watching footy over the last couple of seasons, that's something that annoys me at times. When a team's like really getting the transition going, the umpires are too lenient to let the guy sort of sack the player with the ball to try to basically to save time so they can get more numbers behind the ball.
Yeah.
I think that happens a lot, and I'd actually like them to
Pay more 50s?
pay more 50s. Yes, yeah, exactly, yeah.
That was just such a satisfying set shot from Jack Lukosius. He just pumped that through.
Just
I think if you make someone earn a mark, that's fair play. Like if it's you're probably going to lose the marking contest, but you put a bit of body on them.
If it's in a contest, yeah, but it's the ones, where like they're not really in the contest at all. The ball's on transition, and it's like it's basically a tactical foul.
Yeah,
it's like getting brought down for a yellow in soccer.
Yeah, yeah,
the equivalent. And it slows down the transition. I just think there should be some sort of a punishment for that.
Interesting. If you see an example of it, point it out to me.
I will. I mean, the Aaliyah one was a good example when they did pay it.
Yeah. So what are you talking about, bro?
Yeah. Make him earn it. That's a very old school take from you.
100% though. Like, take the ball or take the man.
That'd be something my dad used to say to me when I was playing footy as a kid. Make him earn it.
Yeah, straight up. Put it on him.
Here we go. This is Machito gone into the midfield.
Great entry.
Oh, I mean, what's happened
Speak
there?
about Alir one-on-one ability. Couldn't even beat himself for a chest mark.
Yeah. There's Garcia. I think that was O'Connell.
Oh,
That's a good,
Dan Butler. Oh, there's bodies flying everywhere here.
Mason Wood.
Cardman's on the sideline saying, "Get into him, boys."
There's Burn Jones, the All-Australian. That's deliberate.
See, I hate that. No, he's taking it over the boundary line. I hate that is now deliberate. Like the dump kick out. Like,
see, people are going to hate this too. This is like controversial, but I'm like a last touch guy. I want the ball in play. I don't want people like.
See, I don't mind that. Like
carrying the ball towards the line.
So would you just do it like soccer? Like whoever it comes off last, like just turn over?
That's what they do in the SANFL.
I like that. But when it's like deliberate because...
okay, so you don't like the
I don't like
50-50-ness of it.
Well, I don't like if you do like a dumping clearing kick out of defensive 50 just to get the ball out of the area.
Then
And it has a break bounce towards the wing and goes out of bounds and it gets called deliberate. It's like, come on.
I agree in the fact that like because it's so subjective, it can be one team could get a really good run of that and the other team could not get a good run of it, which is unfair. But I reckon if you just did like when you clear the ball like that, and you're just trying to get it out of the D50 and you kick it to space, you kind of should lose the ball for me. Like you should lose possession of the ball. It shouldn't be just a stoppage.
Yeah, but like imagine being penalised for like having half a second on the ball and just clearing it. Like, I don't know.
Get more creative with the ball.
Get more creative when you've got Jason Horne-Francis about to take your head off in a tackle and you just pump it out of there.
Oh, that was a good pass. And how is that not a free kick to Georgiades? I think it was Georgiades.
Oh, there's my man, me. Do not sling him into the fence. That would hurt. He's looked after him.
Stocker on me there. I mean, this is getting a little bit embarrassing for the Saints, I feel.
As if the Sample do that, though. Just like...
I'm pretty sure they do.
No, like, I rate it.
Yeah, fact check me on that.
I will take your word for it, but that's cool. I respect that. So what, is there still boundary throw-ins in any instance or not?
I think there are. So I think because they do it in some like local competitions as well. So if it comes off a contest, it's a throw-in.
What if it's just like a one-on-one scrimmage type thing and it dribbles over, they'll throw it in?
I think it's got to be like a last kick. Like, or a last possession type thing. It can't be like if it's a tackle or something like that and
Gotcha. Yeah.
I think so. Like haven't watched enough of those competitions as Boxall. Here we go.
Caminiti.
I don't know about Caminiti. They were going to try him as a defender this season. He still seems to be playing in the forward line. I guess that's because Max King is out. Saints fans probably know more than me on that one. How's the chat going, actually?
Gritio is dominating the chat at the moment with the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 40 comments. How does Joe Berry look? Was a question from Patrick Bateman about 3 hours ago.
Joe Berry hasn't got a lot of footy so far in the game, but when he has had it, he's looked pretty sharp, I would say.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Caminiti, you're playing defence, brother.
Yeah, he's just not quite good enough.
Footy from the flat.
Oh, am I too hard on them?
You're just not good enough.
You're just not. You're not at the level. Not physically.
Caden messaged me the other day when Sean Darcy had to go for surgery, and he's like, he's just not at the level. He's not cut out for it. And I was like, shut up.
Was he trolling there or?
Probably a little bit.
This is Logan Evans, by the way.
Yeah. You'll come to find I'm pretty easy to wind up when it comes to anything Freo related.
Yeah, okay. So you really take it.
Yeah, because if it's just like a wrong opinion, I'll let you know that it's a wrong opinion.
What would be an example of that?
Like last year, everyone's saying that Freo aren't a top 8 side all year when we were, and then eventually we weren't. And everyone was proven right.
Yeah, okay. So.
Oh, that was an incredible kick by Jack Lukosius. Willie Rioli.
The movement from Rioli.
No. Oh! What a classy finish.
He's kicked that. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was crazy skill there from Lukosius and Rioli. But yeah, like last year, all year, I was like, Freo are a top 4 side. No one would believe me. And then by the end of it, I was like, I'm the idiot. What a kick this is from Lukosius. Watch this. Like off a couple of steps, and that lands in lands at the destination.
That was great by Wilkie to
sells the candy.
Get a fist. That is a ridiculous goal. So nonchalant as well by Rioli when he actually finished it.
That's just what those Indigenous boys can do. They just have a skill set that
the
they
movement's
just can,
impossible. Like you can't. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, Willie Rioli, one of the more underrated players.
I was going to say, did you see his final series last year? Like he was incredible.
No,
but easily Port Adelaide's best player.
But he had a year off. Was it a year or 2 years off footy with that not doping thing, but.
Yeah, it was
the urine sample that he tampered with or whatever.
Bizarre story. I won't comment on it without knowing what actually happened with that. But
but when he sort of made that move to Port Adelaide, people sort of forgot how good he was. But living in Perth, you sort of know who's good and who's not for both teams.
Sure,
and
that Vic bias.
Well, yeah, no one really spoke about him as
Nah, it absolutely happens because it happened doing the draft coverage last year, like I did it. I didn't mean to do it. It wasn't because I had any. Like I'm from Tassie. I don't care about Victoria. But like it doesn't. The coverage isn't there. You don't get to see them play all the time.
Yeah.
You don't know the names as much, and then players go under the radar. What was that?
That's just gonna go over the line, isn't it? Why are you sprinting, bro? Slow down. You ever got much intel on a Cooper Moore?
Cooper Moore? No. Talk to me.
If anyone picks him up, absolute gun.
WA?
Yeah, I played with him. I was a strength and conditioning coach before I moved over here, and I was the head S&C for the Perth Demons under 16s.
Right.
And he was the captain. He had some sort of injury last year during the under 18s.
Okay. Would he have made the
I think
under
he would
18
have.
side?
Yeah. He's like in the state academy and stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
But I think if he had have played, he would have got picked up for sure.
So his draft year was last year.
Yeah, and he got injured.
Gotcha. I was thinking he was a bottom major. Like in the...
He actually might be a bottom major, so he might still be...
be eligible for this.
Yeah, potentially.
Well, he still would be eligible.
But he'll be playing league for Perth this year as a 18-year-old or whatever he is. That's a great kick from Horn Francis.
Our boy.
He's been incredible today.
Best in the comp. 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. So Port completely controlling this game. A couple of counter attacks from the Saints, but other than that, I mean, their goal was a 50-metre penalty, wasn't it?
Yep. And that's just not at the level. That's going to be a buzzword.
Just not at the level.
Not at the level.
Who is the player with the ball right now?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Was that Hasty? Is he on the ball right now?
Is it 24?
24.
Yeah, Hasty.
That's Hasty. Yeah, okay. So he was playing a little bit in the previous game. I watched him and he was playing at half back, just being a bit of a medium sort of interceptor, player that just sort of floated across. But it looks like he's come up to the stoppages a little bit there. Interesting one. Steele, Hill. Like watching this game, I know it's only a preseason game, but it does make you worry.
I just haven't seen anything from St Kilda that I like.
No.
Except for Wanganeen Miller, who just like
what's going on with Wilson today?
I think he's just playing forward and he's getting starved off it.
Yeah. Well, that has been the talk, that they've sort of moved him. Like, that's really in vogue right now, isn't it? Moving like some of your better players from the midfield to that half forward line. Like North are doing it with Sheasel, McKercher, Essendon. I don't know if you caught any of their game, but like Merritt, Nick Martin.
Playing half
all
forward.
Playing half forward. And just like those guys that find the footy and they just sort of float around that 50 area and just pick off darts inside forward 50. So I guess it's to pull the efficiency up.
I feel like you want your better players around the ball though, don't you?
I think there's an idea though, right? That when you're at stoppages and you're at the centre bounces, unless you've got you're really explosive and you can get out the front of the stoppage, do you really want your Zach Merritt kicking the ball from the clearance phase? Because a lot of the time the kicks are inefficient anyway, just because of the inherent pressure that you're under at stoppages.
Yeah.
So I think that's the idea around it. That they're getting a little bit more time to operate if they're playing it as a half forward than in a stoppage situation.
I feel like I'd still want him those types of players on the wings or behind the ball, Sheasel started as a halfback. And
I reckon a good example is probably an Errol Goulden. I don't really think that's necessary to play him on ball. I mean, particularly when you sit here and you've got players like Warner and Heaney that are really big and physical.
Bottom, yeah.
I just want Goulden just getting the ball and just using his sniper of a left.
But I don't think you just want him waiting in attacking areas. The run that guys like Wilson and Goulden can provide, you sort of rule out some of their best.
I think, I think with Wilson for sure. I don't know. It's an interesting conversation though. Nick Martin and Merritt looked really good again, albeit a preseason game. They looked good playing across half forward. McKercher's looked really good as well. I mean, obviously you don't just. That was a big fly.
Aaliyah has come down hard and they are short in key defender stocks.
No Asava, no Zerk Thatcher.
We don't want to see this injury.
I think he's okay. I'm not a doctor though.
Yet. Oh, he's just come down very hard on his arm.
Oh, it's the arm. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Far out. He's got lucky there.
He's more limping, but the arm got...
Well, yeah, he just came down and everything there, didn't he? St Kilda have done well to keep the ball down their end, but they have done nothing with it.
Nah. When you think about it, though, what players do they have? Think about their small forwards. Who is picking a lock for them? I think that's partly the problem. You've got Wanganeen Miller, but he's more behind the ball.
Yeah.
He has just come up to stoppage here.
Dan Butler's not really cutting the mustard, is he?
Butler. Well, we saw his foot skills on display before. Mason Wood's not particularly a good kick. I do rate him, some of the things that he does.
Jack Higgins is that role? Is that what we're talking about? Smalls for St Kilda?
Well, yeah, I guess small forwards, high half forwards, those guys that can sort of be creative in the forward half. Higgins for sure. They don't have a Nick Watson, Dylan Moore combination.
Yeah,
Jack
they don't have
Ginnivan.
that Shea Bolton, Frederick, Switkowski combo.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We're going to be so fast this year. It's actually going to be scary.
Will you move the ball fast, though?
Yes, we do. We sort of do it from stoppage, though. We get the ball to the outside.
Yeah.
And then just spread.
I'll tell you my biggest problem with Freo.
Go on, tell me. Tell me.
You're probably going to hate this, but I think you've got to stop giving the... This might be one of those moments that you're talking about before. You got to stop giving the ball to Luke Ryan.
Yeah. Tell Luke Ryan that.
Yeah, he loves it, doesn't he? He just loves getting 35 touches and Freo losing by 3 goals.
Yeah. He brings it out of defense, but it's not like he's a deep lying defender.
Yeah, I love what he does in the air.
But what we do a lot of sometimes, which is probably our next level to evolve, which is probably what you're alluding to, is those dump kicks to Tracy and Amos that Luke Ryan is often the deliverer off. Oh no, is that Mitch Owens?
That is Mitch Owens.
This is the last thing that St Kilda fans want to see right now.
Right now looks as well like he's kind of shaking the head like he's done a bad injury.
It looks like his shoulder was in pain. Hopefully he hasn't
I think he has shoulder issues.
Oh boy.
That is not good. Connor Rosie's had 19 touches in this game. That's gone under the radar a little bit for me.
And they've kicked it to the water boy.
Have you ever been down to RSCA Park?
I have not. And Mitch Owens has gone down to RSCA Park today.
That is not
I'll be here all season.
Jude, you're just having your own little comedy session.
You'll find that. Look, if we do have one true footy join us at any particular point of the year, all of these jokes will bounce off each other and it'll be magic.
Do you think that's on the cards at all?
Yeah.
I did reach out to him. I sent him a message.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you reply?
No, he didn't. But he has replied to me in the past.
He's not too famous to reply. In fact, he's the opposite at the moment. People are commenting on my videos like, where's true footy? And I'm like...
I want him back in the scene.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have a functioning computer. Oh... All right, here's the injury. Oh, that's bad. Yeah, that's bad.
That's not good.
He straight away pointed to yeah.
If Mitch Owens is out, given the fact that they've got Philippou out for a large part of the beginning of the season, not sure what the timeline is on Rowan Marshall, that's their and Sinclair's still got to come back too. I think he is going to be back for the start of the season. But that's probably 3 of your 4 best players.
Yep. Most exciting players
all out of the team.
What's going on with Liam Henry, do you know?
No idea, but again, another really exciting player.
Can't believe he left Freo.
Former Docker.
There will be a fair bit of Freo bias when I'm here, by the way.
I know. Talk to me about those guys. So we had a bit of a brief conversation about Lloyd Meek. What about the players that were probably a little bit more... higher, deemed to be higher talents at the time, Henry and Chera? Did they both come from the same draft? No, that was a Sarong, Hayden Young.
Yeah, so
Sarong, Hayden Young, Henry were all.
Chera was Brayshaw.
Chera and Brayshaw, yeah.
Yeah. Well, going back to that night at the nightclub, I went up to Griffin Logue and I was like,
everything comes back to the nightclub.
The nightclub, electric. Go up to Griffin Logue. And I was like, Griff, I'm a Freo fan.
Oh, Griffin Logue as well.
We absolutely loved you. Pick 8. And I was like, I just want to know why you left Freo. And he just gives me this look like, they didn't want me, mate. Like, that was it. That's all he said. Yeah. And I don't think we did. Like, because we had Pierce, Cox.
My boy, Luke Ryan.
Like, our defense was just too tall. And then, like, we tried to play him forward and it just didn't work. He just looked like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
But he was a cult figure and everyone loved him. And then I think North just came in with a big deal for him.
If you're, that's what I'm saying about North. If you are a former high draft pick, we will take you.
Dylan Stevens?
Yeah,
yes, please.
We do not care. The guy from, going back a few years now, but the guy from Port Adelaide, and like his name's escaping me.
You're a North end, bro.
Yeah, why can't I think of it? Yeah, I was overseas at the time though, so a lot of those guys, like I don't feel as close to.
Position?
Like a mid, outside, wingy. Dylan Steve, like he's the Dylan Stevens of like 5 years before that or 10 years before that. I'm really... Polak, yes.
Yeah.
High draft pick.
I know football.
Yeah, Jared Polak. Like we love giving contracts to that kind of player.
He was on stupid money, wasn't he?
Stupid money. We also drafted players that you wouldn't have even heard of that just didn't work out, like Paul Ahern from the Giants, like a former pick 2.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I think he was pick 2 anyway, something like that. But
the scouting report's just like, when he was scouted as an 18-year-old, he was good.
People liked him back then.
Yeah.
So like,
why don't they like him now?
Yeah.
We like him.
A lot of these guys, there's a reason that they're not getting a game. Like Dill Stevens, pick 6. So we're just like, we'll give you pick 20 for him. Yeah. And pretty much like that was Sydney's problem. And we just took that problem.
Yeah.
And kept it for ourselves. So that stuff frustrates me a lot. Griffin Lowe, I can see the positives of that one more because he's a key position player. So it gives you a bit more. And we didn't have a lot of key position players. But I think, again, we've traded for or recruited Aiden Core, Griffin Logue. And, like, are they really...
Griff Logue will do a job for you. Like, he can be the second best key back in your team, but he can't be your best key back.
Nah. And what have we got? We've got Logue. We've got Core. And I, for some reason, now can't think of the other one. Comben, yeah. But like who of those guys like properly locks down on like the opposition's biggest threat? None of them do. Like Comben loves flying across and he's great at that interceptor role, but he can't really take a
Griff Lowe gets baths given to him a lot.
Man, like, well, he's only like 192.
Yeah.
He's pretty short for a key defender. So like, yeah. He's outweight there. We're going to take a short little break, given that it's halftime. We'll have 5 to 10 minutes off, and then we'll be back shortly.
We'll be back.
Vicar, do your producer
skills. Vic, run it.
Give me a break.
Microphones are on. Yo, it's the Hyperman set. Dylan Alexander live and direct. You ever listen to AJ Tracy, bro? No. Never mind then.
We are back live here for the new footy stream called Footy in the Flat. My name is Dylan Alexander and I'm joined by Drewzy.
Hello.
All right. First half of football, 51-10. The Saints got battered, Drewzy. What did you think of it?
St Kilda are looking really exciting and promising. I can't wait to see what they can pull off this year because, yeah, 1 goal from a 50-metre penalty. That's how you're going to win flags. And Port Adelaide moved the ball well. And, yeah.
Okay, so we talk about this idea of like what you take from a preseason game. Who's taking what from this so far?
Port Adelaide are happy with how they are moving the ball, and I think
the forward line's looking good.
Yeah, and I think their role players as well. Like some of their new guys, like Joe Richards has looked pretty good. Luke Kocius has shown that he can provide something different for them going forward. Horn Francis has looked dangerous. Lockie Jones off halfback has looked pretty exciting. So I think there's like plenty to like for Port Adelaide fans so far. The fact that they've only conceded 1 goal from a 50-metre penalty is one of those things. So defensively sound, you could argue as well. For Saints fans, what can you take out of this? Machito Owens has done a shoulder, so that's not good. And they've played horrible. But it's only pre-season, so...
I'll give you a wild stat in this game. They're Port are plus 104 in disposals. But St Kilda are winning the inside 50 count by 3.
That is nuts. What? That's crazy.
I didn't see that coming.
So inside mid-mix right now is Wanganeen Millerer, McRae and Jack Steele.
Well, that's at least a bit more of a presence there, having someone like an Asaya Wanganeen Millerer. Like, you're like, this guy could actually hurt me. There's Hasty, who I think he might have had some centre bounces. That's a poor kick from him off half-back.
In this half, you just want to see Darcy Wilson do something. If you're a St Kilda fan.
I think this is the thing. Like, this is the conversation. Yeah, Georgiades massive there. You'd want to see Ross Lyon do something like the Nasai Wanganeen Miller move, right? Like, you want to see him just inject some pace.
Steroids, no.
Exactly. I'm just having a look at the stats here. So, yeah, free kicks 11-15. Port are dominating in the ruck. So St Kilda's kind of second string ruck lineup that they're rolling out here. I think it's been Boyd and Heath is the other one, who are pretty second string rucks. Like haven't played a lot of footy. 25-11 in the hit outs, but the clearances are pretty even, 19-17. So that's sort of surprising me. But obviously the Saints aren't getting.
Well, just the ball movement of St Kilda has been mud. Speaking about mud, that kick from Georgiades was
atrocious goal kicking in this game. Like, I know it's 8-3 to 1-4. It doesn't really show, but I feel like there's just been some.
It must be windy.
Yeah,
cool and windy.
Is that Burns with the ball?
See, Essendon against Geelong kicked like 17 goals 2 or something.
Incredible. And then the Pies did pretty much the same the following night, right? Like, didn't they?
I watched the first half of that and I was like, I've seen everything I need to see, and I went and edited. But
the Collingwood-Richmond game.
Yeah, I was just
that was some ridiculous efficiency. I think the Essendon game, it was like in that match, I think they had like 41 inside 50s and scored goals from like 21 of them.
Collingwood?
Sorry, I've gone back to the Essendon game.
Oh, right.
But yeah, just and then Collingwood like followed suit against the Tigers. So Wilson.
Great areas.
Bit of penetration into the hot zone. Who have we got there? Is that Jordan Sweet?
Yeah.
What's he done? He's just like slid in across, just gone back to take an intercept mark or something, has he? That's good. That's O'Connell. That's the future Brownlow medalist.
We got 21 in the chat. Make sure you guys hit like on the stream as well. Help support Dill and the channel and what we're trying to do here. We'll be back next week at some point. We'll do an announcement of what game we're going to do shortly.
100%.
In the coming days.
And we are like in the process of trying to get things. It's been a bit of a shit show, just sort of like organising everything before the season so quickly. But we want to get a channel together for this and sort of get it up and running properly. So if you show us a bit of support, it kind of gives us an idea of, what everybody's into as well.
It has felt so busy these last couple weeks, just like getting ready for football season. Like
I know.
Launching Freo Faithful, just like the preseason stuff.
It's like there's nothing going on, and then all of a sudden, everything in in a few weeks. Of course, we had the KO call up.
Yes,
a few weeks
where we met.
Yeah,
you got to give me one of these ones, bro. It's what's Avatar, that? Like we're connecting.
It was so creepy.
Football. That's what me and Jesse. You got it. We need Jesse in the room.
We do.
Bro.
We do need.
He's the missing link.
Jesse McClure. He's back in the country at least.
Yeah, his last video was the return. He just hasn't made anything since. Power Pepper kicks a goal. Get around him.
He's going to be massive for this forward line. I think you're right with that.
He's a gun.
He's such a presence.
Has he been all Australian?
I don't think so. I don't think he's been all Australian. For me, not enough quality.
You're not good enough.
You know, you're just not going to make it at the level.
He was 22 under 22. That's as close as he's gotten.
Well, and
he won the Gavin Wanganeen medal.
Is 22 under 22? Like, is that actually like when I know it is a thing.
Yeah.
But is it actually a thing, or is it just a media kind of?
No, it's a thing.
It is actually a thing. Okay. Yeah.
I know it's a thing, but is it a thing?
You know what I mean, though? Like, is it just something we kind of talk about and, I don't know, SEN pumps it out, or is it
No, it's a legitimate.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He's got Hasty for company there. So there's Boyd winning the hit out. Wilson.
Oh, Willem Drew just wanted it more there. Oh, that's a throw. That has to be a throw.
This is like the only issue I have for a Darcy Wilson. Like, is he kind of clean enough in congestion like that? Because he spent a lot of time on the wing. He's got massive athletic attributes.
You're not doing yourself any favours when you're not hitting a 15-metre kick, Mason Wood. That's why North got rid of you, and that's why Dylan Alexander doesn't rate you.
I actually said he was good.
I know you did.
Oh, my. Who's taking kick-ins for Port? Is that Finlayson?
Yep.
What? Why would you get Finlayson to take the kick-outs? I mean...
Oh, that's a hospital. Oh,
Boak.
There is 4 players surrounding Trav Boak there, and not one of them has done anything about it.
Yeah, it's not... They're not up to the level.
Not up to the level. Oh, we've got Lasers in the chat now to compliment Gritty OM. Bro just aid Power Peppers a gun. Bro just said Power Peppers a gun. I think you meant to say. He is. I like him.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
He's great.
Should probably read comments before I read them out. Like read them in my head first before something outrageous comes
we probably
through.
need to get to the point where it's sort of a moderated chat of some sense. He's Bergman.
Some description.
That is a nice handball. Rosie hasn't read that well. It looked good, but that's the problem with AFL. You can't see what's coming.
Yeah. Just give the ball to someone to kick a goal. Well done.
That didn't look 15.
I reckon if you stepped it out, it would have been about 12 and a half.
So this is Max Hall, who's got the footy right now, lining up for goal. He's a young midfielder taken in the mid-season draft last year. So he's around the 21 years of age. So a mature age in that sense, but he's working his way into this team. I think he's someone that could impact this year.
If he's half the player Barry Hall is, he'll be okay.
That's a random thing to say, but
yeah, you'll find quite random. Drewzy and Dylan.
Sorry, I actually just got that the last name's Hall.
Yeah, that's why it was funny. I'm really funny, right? Just you'll catch on.
Dear.
Drewzy may have missed out on the Fox footy thing to Jarrah, but he's made it to the big time with Dill.
Exactly.
Put it there.
That's the premise of this show.
Yeah, the KO call up rejects
form together to make an even better show.
The Avengers, bro.
The Avengers.
Straight up. I back that.
I back that too. I'm just trying to get to this.
See, the people in the chat are loving the Barry Hall comment, bro.
Yeah, I have absolutely no idea how I didn't get what you were saying.
Yeah, it's really like intricate, like smart banter, real thinker.
Oh dear.
No, who's injured now?
Well, that's Machito.
Machito on the right?
On the right with the huge ice pack on the shoulder.
I have not seen Travaglia.
Hasn't been injected,
Travaglia.
Toby Travaglia. Horn Francis looking dangerous at stoppages. Here comes Hugh Boxall, who looks big for an 18-year-old. Here he goes, Boxall. Nice little handball out.
Is he 38?
Yeah, that's Boxall. That's Boyd. it's not a good clearance though. Like, and Evans intercepts there at halfback. Looks a player to me. Powell Pepper, the 22 under 22 player from.
So if you're a Saints fan, where do you want to see Darcy Wilson played? I would say wing.
Yeah, I wouldn't even mind, and I know this is sort of like the thing to do at the moment, but like I wouldn't mind getting him behind the ball, play a bit of halfback, get him to push up really high, and just so he like increases that disposal count. Yeah. Get the footy in his hands a bit more, which would improve his kicking, just as a developmental thing, and then you push him into the midfield at some stage. I don't think, to be honest, his like intricate ball handling stuff at stoppages doesn't look quite at the level for him to like break out as a midfielder yet.
Will the Saints finish bottom 4 this year?
I don't think they will.
So they're better than Richmond?
Better. I mean, everyone's better than Richmond. That's just a given.
Are they better than North?
Yeah, definitely.
Are they?
Yep.
What does St Kilda have that North doesn't?
They have a key position back line that can compete with big forwards. I think they have.
What a goal from Horn Francis.
He missed it, did he? Or did he just not care? That was a point.
Oh, it looked like... I always look at the goal umpire, and the goal umpire was on one of these on.
Wilson's just received the ball in the back 50 here. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, this is what you want him. Oh, that is a terrible kick.
Jeez.
We don't want him running off halfback anymore.
No, I mean, it's a good question. I think there's an argument that North have better, like young talent. We have better coming through. But I think, like... For example, I would take their wings over us every day of the week, like Hill and Wood. That's better than anything we're running. I mean, that's ruling out someone like a Finn O'Sullivan who's about to play his first season on the wing for North.
Could McCurge play wing, or is he more of a forward?
They're playing him off the half-forward flank. So he's coming up to stoppage, heavily used in transition. Yeah. Played a bit of halfback, a bit of wing last year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like... Those players I'm not really counting in that conversation, but like they've got ready-made wingers like Wood, like Hill, like Wilson.
Can Zach Fisher play wing?
I don't think so. I don't think he's got the physicality.
Yeah, right.
I don't think that's the problem with Zach Fisher, because we could slot him in across halfback. He's a pretty decent user. He's got a bit of pace. So with ball in hand, yeah, but like his defensive stuff's fairly atrocious, and like you've got to be like...
He's a defender though, isn't he?
He's a defender. You've like to play a wing role. I feel like you've got to have a high level of like tactical IQ about you, because you've got to be able, like on transition, you've got to be able to sort of invert and like block up the corridor and hold like really good positions. You've got to like change over and swing with the other winger and like activate different players. Yeah, like across the half forward and the half back line. So like I think it's maybe he just doesn't have all of that.
That's good information to know, because I'm playing the wing this year and I have no idea how to play the role.
I'm not sure at the
clog up the corridor.
They'll be sort of like...
I'm taking it seriously.
That sophisticated with that stuff, but...
I want to be that sophisticated with stuff. I want to be blocking off the corridors and whatever you just said.
Defense first.
You need to come do like a draft analysis on the Wattle Park animals, like draft profiles.
I should do. I'll be like, he's not up to the level.
I think that's the only level I will be up to, is because I think it's like Division 12, something like that.
Is that like... So you might know this, but with Marmalade, like obviously they started the Div 12 Resis.
Yeah.
Was that actually or was it that just a joke, like, because it's a low level?
I think, no, it's the lowest level possible.
It actually is the lowest level in that. Yeah, right.
It's like you can't get any lower than the league we're playing.
And is it Vafa?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. So Drewzy's lining up for the Wattle Park Animals. I'm definitely going to go and watch a couple of games. I could do that. I could do like an analysis video where I go around and vlog it.
100%.
And just talk about the performances.
Yep.
That is a nice movement and ball use from Rosie there.
I'd probably compare myself to like a prime Nat Fife without the marking or physicality or skill or the power or height.
So you are going to play off a wing?
Yeah.
You got like, is there any running ability there?
Oh, more than Shrey Checkers, Will Caden and Bailey McCabe.
Checkers is the ruck, yeah. He's just...
He taps it to himself and just kicks it out of the ruck every time.
Big clearance ruck. Big Tristan Sherry stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Something like that.
What does Caden do?
Forward? For little Luke Bruce type.
Yep.
Yeah, little frittata.
He'd get some like head high tackles, wouldn't he?
Yeah. No, he's crafty.
Yeah.
High IQ.
I've seen the stat sheets. This is Josh Sin, your boy, I think. Oh no, it's not. It's Ollie Lord.
Ollie Lord.
Yeah, sorry.
High hopes for Ollie Lord.
Yep. I actually saw him over the Christmas period.
I saw him at a night. No, I didn't.
I thought you were going to steal my thunder there. I just saw it. Like, this is not a story, but I just saw him. I was like looking at an apartment to rent, and he was like walking past on the street in Sandringham area.
Yeah, right.
Somewhere. And I was like, that looks so much like him. And then I Googled it, and I'm like, okay, he is actually from this area originally. So I assume he was back. That's my story.
Right. That's kind of scary if you're... What's his name? Cooper Lord? Ollie Lord.
Cooper Lord plays for Carlton.
Right.
But Ollie Lord, I think a fairly high draft pick from a few years back from memory. High hopes though, yeah.
Yeah. Port fans love him.
Yeah.
You a South Park man?
Oh, massive. Like I haven't watched it for years, but like I was back in the day, yeah, for sure. Like
when I ever hear the word Lord, I just like think I am Lord. Have you seen that episode where Stan dresses up as Lord?
No,
acts
I
as
haven't.
Lord.
Is that fairly modern?
Oh, when we're saying modern, it's probably like 2019 South Park.
Okay, because when I say I'm a South Park fan, it's like heavily around that kind of like World of Warcraft kind of season 10, 11, 12. Like I used to have the box sets on DVD.
Yeah.
Going back a long time now.
South Park is the best show ever.
Who's your favourite character on South Park? Like anyone?
Probably like Stan. Like it's got to be Stan, I reckon. Yeah.
I'm a Randy.
Wait, that's what I'm thinking of. Randy, not Stan. Randy's the one that Stan's dad.
Stan's dad, yeah.
Tells you how long it's been.
Makes the show in the later seasons.
No, he's the one that dresses up as Lord.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I have seen maybe clips of that. I don't think I've seen the whole episode.
Yeah, no, Randy's the best South Park character for sure. And like in the later seasons, just like dominates the show. Yeah.
It is his show.
Yeah. It's Randy Marsh's world. We're all just living in it.
So back to that conversation that we got off track on, who are the Saints better than? So they're definitely better than Richmond.
Yeah.
They're better than the Kangaroos. I went off on a tangent massively with that.
They're better than South Park somehow.
They're definitely better than West Coast.
I wouldn't be surprised if West Coast won more games than people expected this year.
I think so too. And particularly at home. Like that is starting to get... I still don't think they have enough players, right, that can just... Like even like Harley Reid, an absolute weapon of a player, but he's probably not at the stage where he's like running out games.
He's probably got that in his kit bag this off-season though, and after a full season
he could surprise me for sure. Basing that more on... Oh, there's Travalia. So Travalia's in the game.
If we talk about the spine of a team, I think they actually do have a pretty solid spine.
Everyone's sleeping on Edwards.
Yeah.
He's a gun.
I know they've lost Barris now, so that's a bit of a
but they've still got
to that. But
they've still got McGovern. So McGovern, Edwards, and
what backs?
Yeah,
Jinby.
Yeah, Jinby's a funny one. Who's the other key though? They've got like another.
Like Rhett Bazzo.
I'm not thinking of Rhett. I mean, he's probably like touch and go, isn't he? In the best 22, like he's around the mark.
But like, yeah, that midfield, if it stays healthy, is good. Harley Reid, Elliot Yeo, Tim Kelly.
Tim Kelly is probably the one because he can like accumulate the footy. They've got those like athletically, they've got like Reid and Yeo who are very like powerful athletes. They probably need a few more guys that can just like the box to box kind of guys. You know what I mean? Like just get around the ground.
Yeah.
Link in the chain sort of players. So the one I think that's what they're trying to get someone like a Duggan to do. Yeah. And Jack Graham. Mm-hmm. Probably a little bit like that too. Just
Liam Baker.
I think he's going to play more off the half back line. Yeah. But I agree with you. I think they'll probably surprise.
And their forward line's pretty solid. Like if healthy.
Alan Waterman.
That is a great key forward partnership, Allen and Waterman.
100%.
Always has just joined, obviously. Brockman.
That's the thing that surprised me in the preseason game because Brockman was amazing. He was just electric in that game. And I'm forgetting there's somebody else even better than Owies and
Liam Ryan.
Yeah,
he's serviceable.
Oh, gee, now my brain's gone. I can't think of any of the players. Let's have a look at the teams that they've got listed in the fortnight. So I was thinking of Noah Long.
Yeah,
he played really well in that game as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
You've got your Roo boys after this. How exciting.
is that today?
Oh,
it is
tomorrow.
too.
Wait, is it?
No, 1 hour, 14 minutes away. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I didn't even realise that. So yeah, the midfield that they've got listed for tomorrow, Kelly, Graham and Reed. So I think that can do a job. Like Yo out's problematic because he was their best player last year.
So St Kilda better than that, do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. I still think they are. Marich was the one that we didn't mention in the back line as a key.
So what do St Kilda have that West Coast don't?
I think they have, like, if you go Nasiah Wanganeen-Miller, Jack Sinclair, Liam Henry, those outside types, Darcy Wilson.
Yeah, okay.
I think they're going to still outscore with that ball movement that they've got. They're going to be able to, outscore a team like...
Okay.
Remember Saints have Max King and Mitch Owens in the forward line.
Max King hasn't played a game of football in 10 years.
He's a good... he's a talented player, though.
Yeah, he is.
It's a fair point on availability. I think if St Kilda... if this injury crisis doesn't... That's Cordy.
Maybe I'm just like WA biased here, but let's say St Kilda are better than West Coast and Richmond. Who are they then better than? North Melbourne, you've said.
I think they're better than North Melbourne.
So that leaves them.
Ladder wise, they're not better than the Crows.
Yeah.
Who finished below them last year. They might be better than the D's.
No.
Don't reckon?
No, definitely not.
Interesting.
No.
Okay. I'm getting into the territory though where I think they're around here.
Yeah, like bottom 4, bottom 5. I've tipped them to finish above the Dogs, which I'm now regretting. You tipped the Dogs to finish top 4 in my video.
Yeah, I know.
That's looking like a terrible prediction at this rate, but I rate it. It made for a funny clip.
To be fair, Bont wasn't injured.
Yeah.
Ed Richards wasn't injured. I don't know what's going on with Treloar. I mean, he's a very injury-prone player.
Yeah.
It's kind of just gone to shit for them.
That's right. It'll make for a good clip because everyone will be like, no way, that's not going to happen.
What an idiot.
Yeah.
He thinks he knows
engagement.
ball. Yeah. So you've kind of. I think they're better than West. I mean, West Coast have been. You're talking about they've been just as horrendous.
It's probably WA bias as well, to be fair.
Because you just see them more and you feel like
like a bunch of my mates support them, so I take a bit more notice and I watch them play because I want them to lose, but sort of
and that makes you feel like I know what you mean because I feel the same with as a Liverpool fan watching the Premier League with Manchester United. Even when Manchester United are terrible, they scare me.
Yeah, still keep an eye on them.
Yeah, and I still expect them to win all their games, even though they're just not going to. At this point,
yeah.
Sorry that you're also a Manchester United.
Yeah, that's all right. That's footy sometimes. Jesse's a Liverpool man.
Is he?
Yeah. So you guys be
spirit
bros.
Animals. Yeah.
Spirit
That's
animals.
such a McRae kick.
Is that Hugo Garcia?
That is Hugo Garcia.
What a setup. Who did he kick that to? Boxall.
He's a big boy, Boxall, for a mid. Trevalier at the centre bounce here.
I thought he was like a half-back.
He is, but he's going to be a Will Day midfielder.
Oh, yeah?
He's got that.
He looks like a Will Day, like the body type.
Same body type. Long legs, shorter torso kind of construction.
Skinny,
big, really good runner.
Yeah, I just saw him take off there. Yep. Accelerated fast.
He was second in the 2K time trial at the Combine. Second only to Joel Cochran. So he's running ability is amazing.
Did Joel Cochran get picked up?
He did. It was an interesting one at the draft. He's a really good athlete.
Where's he from? And who did he get drafted to?
The Sydney Academy. So the interesting, he went to Collingwood, so Sydney didn't match. So that's why it was an interest. That's sort of the interest in that one for me. I just assumed that they would. They didn't, so the Pies got him.
Richards didn't play much at the Pies, did he?
Not a lot. His Berry. Oh, the shake and bake. Swings onto the left.
He just looks like a player already, Berry.
He does.
Yeah, when Port signed Richards, I remember Kane Corns going what are you talking about? This guy's played less than 30 games and you're giving him a 4-year contract. But he's looked like it. He's looked good today.
I don't get... I actually really like some of the media stuff that Kane Corns does. I think it's pretty progressive in the AFL media. So it's not... I make videos sometimes where I don't like something that he says. And I don't really know why he goes on about the contract stuff so much.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like it's like a bit of a boring narrative, but it's like, it's so obvious why the clubs do it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, some players get too bigger contracts, too longer contracts, but it's how they stagnate the deals. And we've talked, everybody knows that. Like, why are we still talking about the long contracts? That wasn't
give me an example.
Well, he just like, I don't know if you watch SEN regularly, but he just can't, like, his main talking point will be like he's big on the Noah Bolter one because Noah Bolter's had a pre-season incident with the police and he's just got I don't know, I can't remember the deal. It was like maybe 8 years or something. Like really long.
See, that's probably, you probably don't need to sign him to 8 years. I don't know.
You don't, but it gives you flexibility. Like it gives the club flexibility to be able to stagnate how they pay the money. And given that they're in a rebuilding phase, they can give a lot of it to Noah Bolter now.
Right.
And then less to him later.
Okay. So it's like if someone gets, say Finn Callahan gets a $17 million deal at Saint Kilda.
Yeah.
Like even though he's just re-signed, like they can give a certain amount. Like they choose how they disperse that money over time. Is that how it works?
That's how they do it. Yeah, yeah. So it allows a team, particularly when they're in like a really obvious phase, like a Richmond, they can do that. They can pump money into Noah Bolter's pockets now so that when...
Strange player to pump money into their pockets, eh?
Fair. Like that's a fair call. But they've got to give like... And again, it's like for fans and stuff like that. It's not their money, is it? They're going to pay someone. So they're just paying it to Noah Bolter now. Like, I guess there is the argument that with some players you could do it and then they're at like, they get a career-ending injury or they actually fade to obscurity.
Yeah.
And don't even make the team, and then you're paying them a ton of money. Like, and then if you're trying to push for a premiership, that gets complicated because you've got salary. You want to pay other players, etc., etc.
What is that?
It's
it's like Sean Darcy's an example of. Well, he's not even like he's on big money, but like players like Polek. Yeah, those are the bad examples that you.
I feel like the problem with those deals though isn't the fact that they pay, like it's not really the contract being paid. It's just that you had them on your list and they were crap.
Yeah.
The amount of contract that they paid them is in a way is irrelevant. Mm-hmm. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, kind of. St Kilda have kicked their 4th goal of the day.
Are they back in this?
They're back in this. They're back to the level.
42 points in it.
Nixian Strange said most of the Dogs' injured players will be back in the first couple of rounds. Will they?
Well, it's a good question. I think some of them will be. I don't think Bontempelli will be, though.
Bont's out until round 6, he said.
I mean, Bont's a really bad one to lose. Like, if there was one player that any team would not want to lose, it would be Bontempelli. Don't know. I think Ed Richards, you're probably right. He had did he have a calf?
I'm not sure.
I'm a bit lost with some of the injuries, but I mean, my sort of thinking around the Dogs and what they can do in 2025, a lot of it hinges on the fact that they're still a super midfield group and they've got Darcy. And Darcy is going to be so dangerous this season.
Yeah. He will be like that's a high tackle.
That's a high.
Watching Isaac Heaney last year, like in some games, it was just like he's just a game winner. And I feel like Sam Darcy's one of those players that like you can be having a crap day, but every time the ball goes near him, he'll just like win the game for you.
Exactly. You could be so much more efficient with a player like that. Yeah. And he's really starting to grow into his skin. Is that what they say?
Yeah. Like a snake.
33 apiece for inside 50s. That's crazy.
Yeah, we were speaking before about like what it was like life under Ross Lyon, and we just never had that like forward connection, like that forward identity.
Talk to me about your forward line under Lyon. So I'm thinking back to players around that period. I'm thinking Hayden Ballantyne is sticking in. He's in my brain.
Yeah.
I'm thinking key position forwards. Like I'm trying to.
No, we only had Pav.
Yeah, of course.
Chris Mayne, who was sort of like that third tall, and then it would be Sandy and Jonathan Griffin, like 2 rucks. So you might have like Sandy or Jonathan Griffin resting forward.
Yeah, wow.
And then, so Pav, Mayne, Ballantyne, Walters, maybe like Matt DeBoer, half forward.
Oh, yeah. A little bit of a worker bee.
Yeah, but like nothing Nothing standing out.
That reminds me of that era, like a Matty De Boer playing half forward where defenders were getting tagged.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they'd stick him on like a half back from the opposition team to stop the run.
Our best forward asset, and what I've seen today from St Kilda kind of reminds me of it, is like territory and then just bringing elite pressure for 4 quarters. Like that was our best asset, was the pressure that we'd bring around the ball.
Well, Ross Lyon sort of like revolutionised that, like the idea of the forward press.
Yeah.
That wasn't really done in footy until like properly, I don't think until Ross Lyon. Like if you think about the game evolving since like the 90s, there's Travalia, by the way. Didn't do that so well there. But you think about the game evolving. Like you remember back to Terry Wallace, who sort of did that flooding for the first time. And then by the time you got to someone like a Ross Lyon, that press just like kept creeping forward. So like all of the players in the back half, and then they would like come up
Press
the ground
up,
essentially. And then Ross Lyon's that stage where, you just get stuck in your own half. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of, in some ways, like that's still imprinted on the game, I feel. Everyone wants
the forward pressure.
Yeah, everybody wants to win the ball back.
Not sitting
high.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of interesting. I was having a conversation with someone the other day about the Cats and just they've sort of tried to do that a little bit differently. Is that 3/4 time?
Yeah.
Gee, that was quick. They've tried to do that a little bit differently with like where they win the ball back. So comparing it to other teams, they sort of let the opposition actually come onto them a little bit more. Not necessarily like wanting to win the ball back in like their defensive half, but when they're defending something like a kick in or the opposition trying to bring the ball back in, they'll sit sort of like halfway line. Yeah. And it just opens up it just gives them a little bit more size of the field to be able to switch it around the other side when they win the ball back.
Gotcha.
It's an interesting one.
It sort of invites the intercept as well. Like if they want to take that kick, it's like go on and we'll
exactly.
Force the contest further down the line.
Yeah, whereas you can be a little bit less, if you win the ball back super, super high, you can be a little bit less efficient because you're operating in more condensed like more bodies in there. Rosie, 28 disposals. I think if you're playing fantasy football, you just got to get Rosie in the team now with Butters out.
True, good call.
Finlayson's had 25. What is going on there? Like, why are they getting the ball in his hands? Is this going to be another Luke Ryan?
Well, I feel like the ball, I don't know if there's like any sort of stat for where the ball has mainly been, but like I feel like it's been mainly in St Kilda's front half.
The stats back that up. I mean, well, the inside 50 count was even, but they had a slight lead at half time. You've got, like big ball. You're right, though. Big ball winners, Finlayson with 25. You've had Bergman with 22 right up there as well. So both halfbacks, Burgoyne, an outside player with 21, and Aaliyah next with 17. So apart from Horn Francis and Rosie, who are like going to get a lot of the ball, obviously. That's interesting. McRae, the biggest ball winner for the Saints, who's had... I've just clicked the wrong button there. Hang on. Yeah, McRae's had 26. Top ball winner. Wanganeen Miller are the next best with 15. So they just haven't had enough.
So that just tells you, like, McRae's doing a job, like, coming in, just accumulating the ball a bit.
You wouldn't sort of want him to be your main guy, though.
No, but I suppose it's better than Seb Ross.
Oh.
So it's just like a little upgrade.
Would you have liked to have seen the Saints go, like, if you're doing a 50-50 job, probably the one, I think Lee Montagna brought it up on one of the shows, that, like, the better play would have been to go for, like, a Kennedy from Matt Kennedy from Carlton. And you could have just used...
They're in the same group for me, I feel. Like, maybe different types of players, but, like... Or do you go both? You get both. Is that what they're saying?
No. Montagna was saying get Kennedy over McRae because McRae's older. Kennedy's a little bit more versatile in the fact that he can go forward, hit the scoreboard a bit more. He's played more as a forward, where McRae's more of a kind of a ball accumulating midfielder sort of thing. So it was a bit of a like future proofing conversation amongst other things. So my take, I didn't mind that take that you go for a Kennedy.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout. I might have to depart the stream because I've got work and I might have a little bit of a nibble on some food before, but this all looks slick.
Love it, mate. We'll take a short break then.
Easy.
And we'll get back in I'm going to come back in about 5 minutes and continue the stream
Pies
solo.
Footy is just dropped in. Chris.
Pies footy.
Yes. Big ups, Pies footy.
What's Pies footy? Has anyone... We got any other comments in the...
There's Chris, Nixie and Strange, and Gritio. They're all in now. But yeah, thank you all. We'll be back next week. Dylan will be back in 2 minutes. I'm just going to head off because I have a job.
All right, guys. Peace.
Be back very soon.
Be back in 5. Sorry. We are back live. St Kilda versus Port Adelaide. The last quarter, Drewzy has had to take off, so I'm riding solo for the last part of this live stream. Saints, a pretty tough day at the office for them, really, isn't it? Like 42 points. Port have just moved the ball so much better in this game. Like, look at this. Running in waves. Berry. They've got it. Lukosius. This is massive for Port Adelaide. I think they can take a lot from this game. Just that forward line to me looks like it's so much more dangerous than in past seasons. Lukosius, Georgiades, you've got Berry in there now, Richards, Rioli. Super, super exciting. I'm just going to go in and bring up the chat on here. Let me know, guys, what you've thought of the game so far. I can't actually get the chat coming up. And Joe Berry, I've been pretty happy with his performance today. Just he looks totally like he's up to the level. Just the way that he moves. Not going to be a huge winner of the ball, but certainly someone that looks like he can play at the level. I mentioned it before, but Rosie, he's had 29 touches, 104 fantasy points. You've got to get him in the team. Here he goes again. Who's that? That might be Dylan Williams. Has just been activated into the game. Port go forward again. Cordy's up there. He's hasty. I don't know. Hasty hasn't been very assured on the ball today. I guess when you compare it to who's usually in the team, like a Jack Sinclair, just so much more dynamic and sure by foot. I'm interested to see what's going on with Mitch Owens, actually. Does anyone know what the injury actually is? Here we go. I'll bring this in. And Jeremy Finlayson playing as like the defensive sweeper, like that's a bit of an odd one for me. He's had like mid-20 disposals. Good mark. Ollie Lord. He's another one, like he's probably not in the best 23 at the moment from like a starting squad perspective. Oh, Port are just playing with them at the moment. Sam Powell Pepper on the goal line there. Let's have a look. Ollie Lord looks sunburnt, says Gritty OM. Interesting. Noah Long, Pies Footy. Thanks to Anthony there. Peace. Appreciate your content. Is Dylan doing the North game? I'm not going to do the North game. I'm only going to do this one for today, but we're going to be back weekly from now on throughout the entire season. Today, we pretty much just did this game, Drewzy and I, as a bit of a pilot episode, a practice at getting the stream right and getting all the production equipment in and testing everything really. So going to be going for the main season proper, and that's where all the kind of exciting action happens anyway. So all this kind of footy chat, we're going to try to keep it going and keep it consistent. So hopefully this week we can sort of organise like getting it on its own channel, like its own platform, and sort of making a proper show out of it. Port Adelaide again. You look, Horne-Francis just looks unstoppable this season. I feel like Jason Horne-Francis, Harley Reid, that's just the future of AFL midfields. Rosie just racking it up. I think this is Dylan Williams. Gee, they're calling the 50s here. Yeah, for the Saints today, like I'm just not sure what they can really take away from this game. They just haven't really been able to get anything going. There's Garcia, who I've tipped to do big things in 2025, and I don't know, like sort of been bumped out of the midfield a little bit there. They've tried to get Nasiah Wanganeen Miller in there. Trevallia's had a few centre bounces as well, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But McRae, Steele, it's looking a little bit boring in there, and then you're going to have younger players around that. So I suppose silver lining, if you're looking for positives, you got Rowan Marshall, one of the best rucks in the competition, not playing this game. You've got someone behind, Dougal Howard, key position defender, out of the team. That's going to help having players like that back. Jack Sinclair out of the team. Mitch Owens has spent a lot of time on the bench as well. So I think I'm missing a couple there, but his Windhager doesn't typically use the ball particularly well, Windhager. Yeah, they've just sort of lacked. There's Keeler. I'd like to see Keeler do well this year. Been playing good footy in the VFL, but yeah, there's nothing really to suggest that from this game so far that they're getting much of a bounce. Here goes Berry. Gee, he looks so good, Berry. Honestly. Here he goes again. He's going to get the 1-2 here. This is what he can do from a running perspective, because people see the small forward mark next to his name and they kind of think he's going to be a deeper player, but he can get up the ground, use his athleticism, got a really strong aerial game. So what time do North play? I've been real busy getting the stream set up, so I don't actually know. I'll just bring the app up here. I'm looking like a real boomer working this thing. 6:10. Okay, so they start in an hour. I'll definitely be watching the game, and I'll definitely cover it with a analysis video, but I won't be able to live stream it. Lukosius misses. So let's see what St Kilda can do here, trying to move the ball in a difficult situation. Nasiah's got the ball. So Nasiah taking the kick in. This is going to set them up a little bit better. Oh, can't even find an outlet from there. Here he is again. Oh, look at the shake and bake. No, he's in trouble now. Throw. Yeah, I don't blame Nasiah for doing that. Like, he's just trying to be a little bit creative there, just get something going for the Saints, but bit off a little bit more than he can chew. Ollie Lord. I think this is Dylan Williams. Just let me bring this up. No, it's Lorenz. It's Lorenz. I thought it was Dylan Williams. Okay, so I think he's just been injected into the game. I'll have a look at the time on ground. Stats. We'll bring that in. Advanced. Tog. Maybe I can't see the Tog. Rosie's kicked another goal. So, 33 touches for Connor Rosie, 27 touches for Jason Horne-Francis. You're probably not going to beat Port Adelaide if Rosie and Horne-Francis get those sorts of numbers. Just saw the marks inside 50 stat come up there before. But look at Berry here. They've just shown the replay. Look at that run. And O'Connell's chasing him, who's an incredible athlete in his own right. Can't keep up with him. Just creates that overload. They're going to get so much out of Berry this season. I think, talked about it in some of the draft podcasts as well that we did, around Port Adelaide. They drafted pretty heavily in the small forward stocks, Charleston and Astopoulos. So they'd put a fair bit of work into that area already, and that a lot of people thought they might not have taken a small forward because of that. But Berry just gives you somebody that's ready to go and ready to make your team better straight away. It's a little bit better from the Saints there. They flicked around, got a bit of handball going from the stoppage, got it out into a little bit of space. I think it might have been Mason Wood or O'Connell that just came off the back of the stoppage. Higgins has got a shot there. Just have a look at the chat. Nixion Strange says, Boyd isn't doing much. Does he get a game if Roma is available? Boyd isn't doing much. Does he get a game? Oh, no. Yeah, so I'd say he's definitely... I don't think St Kilda are going to play... With the way that Ross Lyon wants to play, they're not going to play a second ruck. If Rowan Marshall's there, he plays for sure. I'm pretty sure for these practice games, you've got Rowan Marshall out of the side. Ross Lyon's just having a look at Max Heath and Boyd just to see what they can do. And I imagine it's going to be a similar situation to Campbell, who's kind of been just that second guy for the Saints. I don't see them changing that. Look, he goes Berry again. That is incredible. AC shoulder, HHFC forever. So that must be in relation to Mitch Owens, I would say. That is very bad news for the Saints. Very bad news for Mitch Owens. He's an incredible player. LZRS234 says, very doubtful that Nick survives if Crows don't make the 8 this year. That's a good talking point. And I think, realistically, they have to make it. They've got all of the weapons that they need as far as the personnel. There's probably some teams that have better wingers, maybe some of the small defenders moving the ball out, but they've got plenty of talent in that team now. They've got big key position forwards that can be target men. Riley Thilthorpe's going to go big. Saligo looks incredible. So, yeah, there's absolutely no excuses for the Crows anymore. And the fact that they haven't made finals in one of the last 2 years is pretty incredible to me. I mean, what did they finished bottom 4 last year? That's actually insane. So Nix has to start producing results. I think at times the way that they've played football has been really good. So if you look at the performances of them, there's kind of in some ways there's no problems with performances, but it's just you've got to get wins at the end of the day. I think he's a good coach, but yeah, he's got to start to... I think it starts with selection for Nix. I think that's where he can be conservative, not necessarily around game plan, but just getting the right players in, looking to youth at times to bring a bit more energy into the team. Not often, this is Hugh Titchener says, not often you would say an 8-goal margin is flattering to the team trailing, but I think it is today. I think he's gone on there, Hugh. Trick is to punish the Port mids the other way. Saints just don't have the class to do it. Yeah, it's an interesting conversation, and you're probably right. Port Adelaide have absolutely dominated this game. What is it now? It's 54-ish points. Trying to work that out in my head. 11 minutes to go. It is a big margin. It's funny though, because you bring up some of the statistics. Port Adelaide have just had so much more of the ball, but then you go to inside 50s, which are even. You go to clearances, which are 30 to 25 in favour of the Power. So it's not like they've absolutely dominated in those areas, but it does feel like Port have been absolutely all over them, like complete control of this game. And nothing St Kilda have really done in this game. Like the inside 50 and the clearance count that's been sort of in their favour, you'd say that like it's all just been a dirty ball. Like they haven't really got anything clean going. And you're right, Hugh, in the sense that Port Adelaide, the one way that you can hurt Port Adelaide is getting them the other way because their mids are very, very offensive. They try to just get the ball. They try to beat you 1v1, get the ball inside forward 50 and keep it there. And the Saints haven't been able to hurt them at all. I do think, though, caveat on that, like Jack Sinclair's obviously a really important player for the Saints. And if he's in there getting, 25, 30 touches, they are going to have a lot more possession. But yeah, today, I guess players playing those roles, like halfback roles, you've got Angus Hasty, you've got Liam O'Connell. So it's a lot of youth. Not necessarily a lot of class with ball in hand. Does Port Adelaide go again here? Too hot for Soldo. This is it for Saints. Like what? Well, that's a little bit. What's that though? Here's Boxall. Well done by Boxall. Boxall's looking really... He just looks like he's got the physicality to do this, and Trevallia's ended up with the ball. He's going to have a shot from just outside 50 here, so just feeds it off to Keeler. So that was a little bit better from the Saints, but like they're still pretty sloppy in certain areas. Hugh Tishner, yeah, it's why the Pies always smash Port. Yeah, catch those cheating mids. LZRS234 says, at this point with the Crows, you can't say it's a list, can only be the coaches at this point. Yeah, like I totally agree. It has to come. I think when you kind of build a list as a team together, we always do talk about the coach being responsible, but like you've almost got to, I don't know, in some ways when they change a coach, they almost need to change like a lot of the football department as well. Because it's often... it goes down to the recruiting and all of that sort of stuff as well. Like all of those people have made decisions. The coach isn't making all of those recruitment decisions and development decisions as well. They're kind of just picking the team to go out in the park and, coaching them to play. 9 minutes to go. You just can't really see St Kilda getting much out of this game at this point. That's against Horn Francis, is it? No, just a stoppage. So who have they got in there? It looks like Garcia's kind of just loose there at the bottom of screen. McRae. So, I mean, that's what McRae can bring. Like, I'm hard on him. But the Saints do need that. Like, they need that physicality at the stoppages. They need some bigger bodies in there. McRae... Not necessarily like you don't think of him as being like the most physical midfielder going around, but he does get his hands on the ball and he does from stoppages. So he's not going to win you games. He's not going to move the needle massively, but he can give you a little bit of a foothold in the midfield. How's Cordy ended up picking the ball up across half forward? How's Horn Francis playing as a defender on Keeler too? How do these things happen? Caminiti's one that you wouldn't think is probably best 23 when everybody's fit. Keeler playing in the forward line too, it's kind of shows where they're at with trying to replace Max King for today's game at least. Like they don't really have anyone that's playing that role. I feel like that all the talk was Community was going to go behind the ball. Community. But yeah, they've kind of had to plug in those holes with Max King being out. Sweet again there. See, like McRae, as much as I knock him, from a stoppage, he looks like the most likely player to get his hands on the ball. Jack Steele does a fair bit from a defensive point of view, but sometimes he can struggle in that area as well. But look how much more dangerous the Power look when they move the footy. Just looks like there's so much more space inside forward 50 for them. Garcia gets back. So what's Garcia done today stats-wise? Let's have a bit of a look. Jack Steele's had 20 touches. Garcia he's had 17 touches. He's had 3 marks. What's his score involvements like? I'll just bring him up. Like, I'm excited by Garcia because I just think he gives them, at stoppages, he gives them something a little bit different. Like, it's a bit more pace, a little bit more movement. He's got a step on him, so he can just be a bit more creative. But, there's a chance that he's just not quite ready to affect the game on big levels. Obviously, it's tough on a day like this. That's what Travaglia can do. They're going to pay that mark, yeah. Travaglia is a really good intercept marker, like reads the game really well. Did that for the Pioneers all last year. So I'm just going into... the positive of Garcia's game here, 78% of his possessions have come in the forward half. So he's only had 17 of them, not huge numbers, but that's a good sign. 65% disposal efficiency is decent, again, in the forward half of the ground and playing midfield. But look at this. Okay, stay on what I'm doing here. Yeah, Garcia, 3 score involvements. They've only had 12 scores themselves, so he's had 3 of them. That's a decent percentage. That's like what, 25% of all scores he's been involved in. So that is decent. He's on 1 direct goal assist. He hasn't kicked any himself. He's had 6 contested possessions. Where are his clearance numbers? 2 clearances. Now, I don't know the centre bounce numbers that he's had so far, but that is interesting for Garcia. But this game, from a statistical point of view and like numbers point of view, this game has been absolutely dominated by Port Adelaide. We've got another question here from Hugh Tishner. How do you feel about round 1 against the Dogs, Dylan? I think there is some pressure on North to win with the Dogs out. Yeah, it is a good question. Like if the Dogs are missing Bontempelli, there's Garcia. That's what he can do. Gee, it's a big fly too. Boxall's been fantastic. Tick there. That was a horrendous bounce. Yeah, so it's a good question. So Bontempelli out, Ed Richards out. I don't know, like is there pressure on North Melbourne to win that game? I think there has to be. Like, North have to start winning games this season. And when there's a team that has, 3 of their best players out, I think North Melbourne do have to start winning those games. Do I have faith that they can? Probably not. Like, if I'm being honest, I just think you still look at the Western Bulldogs midfield. They've got, I'm pretty sure Treloar's available. You've got Liberatore. Riley Sanders is going to come in there. So they've still got cavalry to come in. They've got depth because of that, like, experience that they've built over a long time. No one, we're not going to be able to go anywhere near stopping. Waitman's the other one that's out for them too, isn't it? Yeah, so he's another big player out. But when we play teams like the Western Bulldogs, historically, we just cannot contain their forwards. So Sam Darcy is going to absolutely shred us. I think, if we put a lot of work into Sam Darcy, Aaron Norton's probably going to shred us as well. So we don't have the key position stocks to go with them. Waitman being out sort of helps. I think he's historically performed pretty well against the Kangaroos. He's just, we don't have a matchup for him. But now they've got like more small forwards starting to come through. You look at like Josh Dolan in the preseason, looks really good. Riley Garcia looks really good as well as a small forward. They got West. So to answer the question, is there pressure on North? I think there has to be pressure on North. This can't be another sub 5 win season for North. So these sorts of games we have to win, but I'm not particularly convinced with what I've seen so far as a supporter. Port have doubled the Saints in uncontested ball, yeah. They're like, whether you put that down to the way that St Kilda have defended or the way that Port have moved the ball, but it's definitely the sort of stat that you would say St Kilda haven't brought the defensive side of their game really to give up. I mean, what are the uncontested marks like? We've got total. I mean, 58 marks to 133. So we don't actually have the uncontested marks there, but that kind of tells the story. Contested marks 3 to 11. So they smashed them in the contested and uncontested mark game as well. But if you're giving up high uncontested mark numbers and you're losing the game by over 50 points, like you haven't defended well for sure. Darcy Wilson just kicking a bit of a consolation goal there. Again, Jack McRae involved in that passage of play, and then Wilson just gets lower. Hasn't had a great game though, Wilson. Like if I bring up his numbers, I don't feel like he's had a huge effect on the game. 14 touches, 1 goal, couple of tackles. A little bit starved on that half forward line. I have noticed throughout this game, I was talking to Drewzy about it before, that he's had, he's been injected into that centre bounce group a couple of times, and he just doesn't quite seem to have the nous at stoppages yet. So they seem to have put him back onto that wing, which I think suits him at this point a little bit better. And we talked about the idea that he could play across half back and be a bit of a weapon for them there. But just so many outside players for the Saints is like my big takeaway with their list. Need a couple of, and that's, I mean, they've drafted some bigger bodied midfielders. They've gone for players like Boxall. Travalia can be a bit of a Will Day, like a tall midfielder with reach and run as well. So I think they've got the players there, but it's hard for fans just to wait for development all the time. I know that pretty well as a North fan. Port again. Joe Berry, like, look more dangerous. I dare you. It's just unbelievable. I reckon of all the draftees, the most jealous I was of any, like I got whoever drafted Joe Berry, it was either going to be, Port, West Coast, Freo, one of those players in the teens. I was so jealous. To be honest, I think the team that really missed an opportunity with Joe Berry was Richmond, because they had those back-to-back picks at like 10 and 11, which became 13 and 14. Jonty Fall, Taj Houghton. I feel like they could have gone. I kind of understand it because they obviously saw the talent of Taj Houghton, and then you're probably not going to draft Houghton and Berry, but that would have been super exciting, wouldn't it? Like imagine if they walked away with Smiley, Lawler, Berry and Houghton as those kind of like high half forwards. Like who's going to be able to compete with those guys as high half forwards? And then you get your key position players like Trainer, Sims. I feel like I'm missing one in that group as well. But yeah, what a draft hand anyway. But yeah, Joe Berry would have been awesome. Keeler there looking good. A big contested mark from him on the wing. Want to see more of that from him. Logan Evans is a good player. Maybe I am underrating this kind of Port Adelaide backline a little bit. Like without that, and again, that's on St Kilda too here today, because they pretty much only had Aaliyah out of their top key position defenders, Port, and St Kilda just haven't even been able to lay a glove on them. None of the smalls have really got involved. Like I haven't seen much of Higgins. What do we got here? Here's Burns, is it? No, it's Hasty. Yeah, Hasty, like I've liked his intercept work in the back half. I haven't, like that, like what's that kick? That's exactly what I was about to say. He's just like not very sure on the ball today. And someone like a Jack Sinclair just makes that so much better. Only a minute to go now. What are we at? Points margin. That's just a straight 50-point lead. Probably about right. Like someone mentioned in the comments before that it feels flattering to the Saints that it's only this margin. I mean, yes and no, I guess. Like there's parts of the game where you look at it and go, okay, Saints have actually been, in the contest a little bit. I think if we have a look at I've just clicked on something there and brought the wrong thing up. Like, yeah. So Port definitely could have taken advantage of how poorly the Saints have played today, for sure. But again, do you really need to drive the knife in a preseason game and kind of absolutely smash someone? It doesn't really help you for the season. Considering Port Adelaide, like they've been a team that's been competing in finals. So yeah, contested possession 133 to 119. I'd love to have a look at the deeper numbers of that, some of the ground ball versus aerial stuff for sure, just to see exactly where that's happened. The contested marks have been big for Port Adelaide, and it's probably a bit of a sign that forward line for Port Adelaide is working. Lukosius, Georgiades, those sorts of players. And Finlayson's been an aerial threat as well, so I'd be interested to see how many of his marks have been. I haven't really noticed Finlayson massively being like a big intercept threat, to be honest, but he's had heaps of the ball and just the uncontested marks that Port Adelaide have had. McRae, he would have been at most of the stoppages. Steele's in there and Trevallia's the third. So, I mean, that'd be a nice midfield mix with a bit more experience into Trevallia. Here goes McRae again, just laying a little block for Steele, but Steele's not going to do much with that ball in that position. Looks like Boxall's gone up to half forward, but yeah, Bergman, another one that's just done really well off half back. They're just going to continue to chip the ball around here. Evans, really impressed with him today. I think he's been awesome. Finlayson. I actually reckon this is the biggest talking point for me about the game. Finlayson swinging behind the ball. And you'd have to give that a tick. Like I kind of can't believe that's worked so well. Is that just St Kilda? Or is that the future for Port Adelaide? I'll have a quick look at the chat. Gersh says thoughts on Freo. Well, the man that was sitting next to me for most of this stream, Drewzy, would have been the best person to answer this question. I feel like Freo this season are kind of the cliche pick for everyone to go up the ladder. They were very close to making finals last season, didn't quite get there. So they then bring in, I think, the one player that they brought in, Shea Bolton, who can really move the needle for them. That player that is so good at operating in the tight spaces of the forward line, has that movement, can go in at stoppages and affect it there for them as well. So I think if there's one thing that you would sort of put a knock on Freo last year was they were a little bit boring at times. And hopefully a player like Shea Bolton can kind of help them to take the handbrake off a little bit. And you couldn't really, based on the talent that they have across that list, like Brayshaw, Sarong, Hayden Young in the midfield, that's an amazing group of players there. You've got Shea Bolton to come in and pinch hit from the forward line. The back line with players like Pearce and Cox and we talked about him before, Luke Ryan. So those talls in the back line are really, really solid. You've got Draper, who's playing down there as well, another one. They've got good wings, bringing in Jeremy Sharp. I look at pretty much every position, Tracy up forward and a miss as well. So guns all over the field. It's really just about being able to handle the expectation, I think, this year for Freo and Justin Longmuir implementing a game style that is versatile enough to deal with different situations in big games, because I think they were able to, dominate stoppages last year. But when you talk about being able to move the ball from defensive half to offensive half quickly against good teams that can sit in and defend well, they weren't able to do that. And I think that is really the test for them. Someone says, Chris has said, up the Eagles. Can't wait to watch the game. And also Finn down back, the fantasy consideration. So have we seen that? Is that game actually about to start? If Finn O'Sullivan is down back, you're absolutely locking him into your starting fantasy team. He'll be an absolute bargain and pick up plenty of the ball. We'll have to watch the game to see that though. And the Eagles, we talked about it as well with Drewzy before. I think the players that they brought in, the experienced players like Liam Baker, Jack Graham, pretty big for the team just to get those bodies into the midfield. I still think these teams that we're talking about, North, Eagles, even Saints probably fit into this conversation. They're not far from bottom four. I think they're going to struggle this season. And I'm probably even watching this game, Port Adelaide have dominated it, but I probably felt that Port Adelaide this season could have a drop-off year. They've been up all of the time for the last few years, making finals, making prelim finals, stuff like that. So I feel like there's potentially a natural drop-off for Port Adelaide, and it's hard to sustain what they're doing with just that midfield group all of the time. But they would have to be super impressed with this performance. I'm going to wrap up the stream, guys. Think about this episode as a bit of a pilot. We're going to add plenty more to the show. We're going to bring guests on and make it a regular thing weekly. So stay in touch. And we're also going to move the platform to its like a standalone channel as well. I've got one more comment from Gersh here saying thoughts on Bailey Smith. Only fans. Okay, I probably should have read that one out first. I don't know anything about that, Gersh, so I'll leave that one. I'll wrap this stream up now, guys. Stay tuned on my Instagram, on Drewzy's Instagram, on YouTube, all of those platforms for what we are doing in the future. I'll wrap up the stream and I'll see you guys next time.